In 3 weeks' time, the new Football League season will already be underway and Leicester will be preparing for their Championship opener against Coventry. But now it's about getting minutes in the legs, introducing new players, including new signing Callum Doyle, and adapting to the style of a new manager. For the first time this pre-season, Fox's fans can see Enzo Maresca's Leicester City in the flesh as they take on Northampton this afternoon. A return to the Premier League is the goal, and the hard work to build up to a long and challenging season continues here at Sixfield Stadium. City for their pre-season campaign, and we have got a full match coming your way against Northampton as we see Enzo Maresca's side in action in person for the first time, and delighted to be joined by some Leicester City royalty with Matt Elliott and Matty Fryatt alongside me. Gents, it's always beautiful to have a lovely bit of pre-season time with you in the summer. How are you both? Did you have a nice summer break, Matt?
Yeah, lovely. Lived it to the full, to be fair. Fortunate enough to get away a couple of times. Season soon comes round, doesn't it? But a lot of expectancy, a lot of disappointment obviously back in the last year, but that's been brushed away, hopefully, not to return. And a lot of positivity around the club. New season, new manager, new recruits. Hopefully starting afresh. It's certainly fresh here today, that's for sure.
It absolutely is fresh. Leicester City out warming up, and Matty, actually, if we look round Sixfield Stadium, Leicester are taking over. They've taken 3 of the stands here. The fans really excited to see the start of a new era, if you like, with Enzo Maresca.
Yeah, you could look at it that way in terms of a new era. Obviously, the fans out seeing for the first time. I know they had the pre-season game the other day against Peterborough, but first time for the fans to see the new look team. Obviously, new recruits, players in, new backroom staff, but it needed a lift. And they'll go into this season full of expectation. But it does feel this time around optimism, which is good, positivity, good energy. I wish we just had the weather for it. It's not a typical pre-season game where you have the sun, but here's what it is.
It's probably quite a good challenge, isn't it, this weather, because Enzo Maresca's wanting to see his team in all sorts of different conditions, and they're going to get every condition this afternoon.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? And they'll come up against different tests throughout the campaign. You know, he'll want them to be flexible and adaptable to different scenarios, with a sort of a basis of a structure, you imagine. Interested to see what that approach is. With the new manager coming in, what he tries to implement, etc., how the players can adapt to that. But yeah, listen, it's a long grueling season. People know that before. They've got to be ready and prepared for that. But certain players, a number of the players have got good experience at championship level, so there's no excuses on that front. And on the face of it, you think they've got a good mix and a good blend. We'll yet to see how things transpire between now and the actual start of the season. But when you, listen, I'm far from getting carried away, right? But when you look at that team sheet on the programme, the whole squad, at championship level, it looks very, very strong, as is the starting lineup today.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those new players coming into Enzo Maresca's side this summer and maybe what he's going to expect from today, because we can hear from that. And I spoke to Enzo Maresca a little earlier on. Enzo, thanks for talking to us so close to kick off. How are the boys feeling ahead of another big pre-season game to get themselves fit and ready for the new season?
Yeah, as you said, it's pre-season, so it's timing to try to see new things. And good art in the last 2 weeks. So and now it's good moment for a game. How do you feel? Are you settled? Yeah, no, good, happy. The way we are working, to be honest, is very good, make me happy. So exciting, yeah.
Pre-season in England, we usually think we're going to get some sunshine and it'd be fine. Today we've been rained on, the wind is blowing. What kind of game are you expecting today?
No, anyway, it's wind. It's always complicated, especially against teams that they used to play long ball. It's always complicated, but doesn't matter. This is a moment for pre-season. Important that they have a good game, and this is all. Yeah.
Do you feel that your messages are coming across well to the players?
Yeah, I think so, because day by day I can see the way they are working. That at the end is the most important thing, is the most significant thing, and it's day by day we can see the way we are improving, but no rush at all. It's just a matter of time.
And how excited are you to see the Leicester City fans today? Because it'll be for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is for me and for the team too, even if some of them they already know, but it's a new season, new players, new manager, new staff, so we need to start again.
Well, you mentioned new players. Callum Doyle's arrived at the club. How happy were you to see him arrive?
Yeah, no, very happy to see him, to see Harry Winks, to see Conor Cody, to see all the players that they join us. Because as I said before, this is a new moment, a new era, new journey with the players, with the staff. So we need to build something important.
What type of player is Callum? What can we expect from him?
First of all, it's a genuine guy. It's a very good boy from unbelievable family, and at the end, this is for us one of the most important things, because more player we have being good in that, being good boy, and probably it's better for the idea, for the process, and for everything.
That does feel like it is a new start here at Leicester City, fresh, looking for that promotion back to the Premier League, and it seems for you it really is about that mentality as well as the physicality.
No, yeah, anyway, mentality, physicality, but it's not only for us, for any team that wants to reach something important. You have to be strong mentality, you have to be humble, you have to work hard, but this is for us, for every team.
Enzo, enjoyed today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. Thanks to you. Thank you.
There we go, Leicester City's new man in charge, Enzo Maresca, talking to us before today's pre-season match against Northampton. He's made it very clear. He says he wants good lads to be part of his squad, and that's why he's brought some of these new signings in. We'll talk a bit more about Callum Doyle, because we're going to hear from him a little bit later. But first, let's talk about Conor Cody, Harry Winks. Big Premier League names coming to Leicester City to fight for them in the Championship. What did you make of those signings? Especially, let's start with Conor Cody as a defender.
Yeah. Well, you talk about good lads and people being positive around the changing room. That is regularly been labelled to Conor Cody, hasn't it? It's been a sort of a large feature of his profile, if you like, his personality, and he's become known for that aspect of things as much as his actual playing ability. We'll yet to see how true that is, but you certainly get the vibe. I think he's got plenty of chat, hasn't he? He's got a little bit of spirit about himself, a little bit of an edge. He can bark at people, but he can cajole people as well. And I think a lot of people would agree that that's maybe something Leicester need, someone to put it up other players a little bit every now and then, but in a fitting manner, and he's got that character, that confidence, outgoing, expressive, and I think that will filter through to the rest of the squad.
I was speaking to someone earlier who said they've been around the training ground a bit, and he said you can always hear Conor Cody.
Yeah.
He is talking all the time. That takes something to go into a new club and be that confident and that kind of dominating around the place early on. What was it like? You've had that experience of going into clubs. That's quite a hard thing to do.
It is, but that if that's what his character is, it's only a good thing. And as Matt alluded to, if you're giving someone a ticking off in the right way, or giving them the confidence or a bubbly character, then that's what you want. Maybe sometimes last year it wasn't quite there, and someone coming in straight away and showing that organisational skills, that leadership, that togetherness. It was part of a Wolves promotion team that dominated the league and was excellent a few years ago, and obviously gone on and played a hell of a lot of Premiership games. But you need them types, and it's a marathon, the Championship. It's not a sprint, but it's good to see that he's come in straight away, set a stall about and gone around it and sort of gathered the rest of the team. And you do need that. You need them types of characters. So it's going to be a long season, but that's the sort that you want to bring into the club.
I think also with Conor Cody, he's earned the right to come in and be that way. And also, it seems to be his natural personality. If it's a false confidence, players will suss that out and you'll come unstuck. It'll backfire and you'll look a little bit silly. But he's played for England, he's proven himself at the top level. People know what he's about, and I think in particular these Leicester City players, after the back end of last season, will welcome him with open arms, that someone like him to come in and probably lead from the front.
Yeah, what about Harry Winks? You sort of say about Conor Cody, he's earned the right. Harry Winks maybe struggled for the game time he wanted at Tottenham, but really will have a chance here to really make an impact.
Yeah, and I think it's at that sort of stage of his career when he's obviously talented and he's well thought of at Tottenham, coming through again, an England international. His career hasn't gone quite as a lot of people might have predicted, but without doubt the class is there, and maybe it's the time for him to sort of step up himself and realise he don't want to miss out on the opportunity that he's got there, and maybe be a bit more forceful. In the Championship, you'd think he would excel. At a club like Leicester, he'd be welcomed again because of his experience as well as his ability. But he can really go and not showcase himself, but put himself to the fore again and put Gareth Southgate's thinking. That would be the ultimate plan, but before that, he's got to make an impression in the Championship level, and I fully expect him to do that.
It's one of those cliches, isn't it? It's that spine of the team. And when you talk about Cody, talk about bringing Winks in, Maresca's got an idea of what he wants as his spine.
Exactly that, and when you're talking about them international players, let's not forget, I think Harry Winks is a cracking signing. I think he'll dictate things, he'll get on the ball, he'll be busy. Maybe it hasn't gone the way people projected his career, but this might be his second coming as such. So in the Championship, you'd expect him to be the centre, looking for the ball, always dictating, always trying to get on it, making things happen, and can express himself a little bit more. Probably didn't go his way and probably needed a change. I think he'll benefit Leicester massively, but you can already see building from the back, going through the lines, and maybe there might be a few more additions, but already strong in terms of defensive areas, and in particular adding someone like Winks in to get Leicester on the ball and probably dictate it.
Well, one of the players who, of course, is coming in is Callum Doyle. We'll hear from him very shortly. You mentioned the word express himself. That's going to be what Leicester get the chance to do today, isn't it? Just go and play, enjoy it. Maresca just said, I'm not looking for anything in particular today. Yeah. I just want them to play football.
What have we missed there?
Basically, he's cleared the stand, Jamie Vardy, with a huge strike over the bar and out of the Sixfield Stadium.
It had to be Jamie involved, didn't it? One way or another.
To be fair, it isn't the biggest of stand, though.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But yeah, I know Maresca would. Listen, obviously he's been looking for signs and elements of what he's looking to put into the squad, but he's not going to be looking for the finished article or expecting that. Far from it. But yeah, I mean.
So Vardy's going again. He's found the net this time, and he's given a nice shush to the crowd. Yeah, absolutely. But, Sorry, Matt.
But then Leicester, we were just talking off air, saying how awkward sometimes these pre-season games can be. I expect Northampton will start with a little bit of a flurry, then Leicester will be in control for the next 30-40 minutes. Then there'll be a few changes, it gets a bit ragged. That's when you can come unstuck. The home teams, the lesser teams in terms of league position in these friendlies tend to come on strong later on. For whatever reason, it's hard to get that real focus and mentality. What's he done now? Another one over the top.
Over the bar, that one.
Is it? But he's always part of the focus, Jamie, and he can't get away from the attention. But no, you don't get too much out of this. Being the first game, etc. I'm not expecting dynamism all over the park, but you just want to see little glimmers of what might be down the line.
Well, we've talked about some of those signings who have arrived at Leicester City, of course. We've spoken about Connor Cody and Harry Winks coming in, but if you missed the news, late last night, Callum Doyle has arrived at Leicester on loan from Manchester City, and we can hear from him now.
Welcome to Leicester City, Callum. How do you feel sitting here today?
Yeah, I'm excited. It obviously took a long time for me, but yeah, I'm excited to get going.
What attracted you to Leicester, and how did you feel when you first heard about the interest?
Obviously, I've seen the facilities. That's the main one. It's always good to come to work and work in a place like this. And obviously, I've worked with Enzo before. We won the Under-23 Premier League title with him, and he improved me a lot. So it's good to work with him again.
Yeah, what's he like as a manager?
He's good. He's very on it as a manager. He's obviously tactically proven that he's very good, and obviously his player management is unbelievable as well.
How important is that as a player to have a manager that is so good with the personal side of the game?
Yeah, it's always good to have a one-to-one with the manager. It's good to have a good relationship, because obviously if you don't, then it might affect your performance, but obviously with Enzo now it probably won't. So yeah.
It must be exciting coming in knowing that you've played under the manager before and obviously had success under that manager.
Yeah, like I said before, we obviously won that under-23 title, which was a very good season for me. Obviously set me up for the first loan move when I was 17. So now I've just got to get through this season and hopefully do the same.
Speaking of that loan experience, obviously you've gone from Sunderland and then you had a brilliant season with Coventry last campaign. How did you find that, particularly last season?
Yeah, it was tough at the start because I couldn't really find my feet within the squad. But as the games went on, I found myself in the starting lineup, and obviously you must have seen that it was a good season, but unfortunately we didn't get the result. As
a young player, as you are, obviously it must give you immense experience.
Yeah, playing alongside experienced players obviously helps me. Watch them and learn from them as much as I can, especially with Connor here now. Obviously I'd take as much experience from him and hopefully to put it in my game.
What do you like as a player?
Comfortable on the ball. I like to make things happen. Obviously bring the ball from the keeper, obviously get the midfielders involved and hopefully create some chances.
And clearly Enzo liked that from you during your time at Man City. You did that of course at Coventry last season, so it's a massive part of your game then, being a ball-playing defender.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially in the modern game, to obviously get on the ball, move it, and I think this season with the squad that we have, I think we do really well.
What are you hoping to gain from your season here?
Well, I'm hoping promotion. I think that's what's on everyone's mind right now, obviously, to get the club where it belongs.
There we go, Leicester City's brand new signing, Callum Doyle, talking to us as he signed his paperwork and became part of the Leicester City squad last night. We'll talk about him very shortly, but also good news for you, Matty. There's no wayward Jamie Vardy shots anymore. They've gone in, they're getting ready for the game, which of course kicks off, and you'll be able to watch live today's pre-season match against Northampton Town. We've got full coverage, and then we'll have post-match analysis for you too. But let's talk about Callum Doyle then, someone you've seen a bit of in the past. So what do you think Leicester City are getting here?
He's youthful in terms of his age, but experience-wise, I actually admire young players going out and playing. So I first saw him initially in a back four at Sunderland, did really well, and then last year went to Coventry and played more in a back three. So that'll be interesting in terms of Leicester. Will there be a back four? Will there be a back three? But at the same time, he's adaptable, really good left foot, will play penetrative balls through the midfield quickly, and also having that balance of having a left-sider. And like all defenders, he wants to defend, crosses into the box, he'll put his head there, quite physical you'll see him solid build as well, so he's got some experience, and again coming to Leicester and having the manager seeing what he's been capable of from afar from Man City, and there might be more others to come and use that route as well. So an experienced player for someone who's so young as well.
Well, it's interesting from Maresca's point of view that the fact that, hello, just got people coming into the team. It's the mascots, they're getting ready for the game, but just coming straight into the show, which is always good. It's always good to have guests on the programme. But in terms of Maresca building this defence, he's obviously looked at last season. Leicester City fans are going to say defensively we weren't good enough. That's why we had relegation from the Premier League. So the fact he's brought Conor Cody in, he's now brought in Callum Doyle, that's a sign of intention, isn't it?
It is, and he'll only go from what he's known sort of at Man City. I know he's had experience elsewhere, but the Championship is a relentless, unforgiving, physical league. But Man City's foundations last year, the interviews with Guardiola, I know it's not about Man City, but it was built on defenders defending. So they got rid of a couple out and then went for trusted defenders, and you can see the same formula with Leicester in terms of Cody, Doyle coming in, actual defenders who want to defend. First and foremost, of course they can play, but you don't want to be conceding at the rate Leicester were last year. Completely different, but starting from the back, get good foundation, hard to beat, and then they can play as well. So you can see mirroring, and if Leicester can do anything in comparison to what City have done, it's going to be a hell of a season.
Doyle also is going to have so much fire in his belly. He was part of that championship final, lost with Coventry against Luton, which was probably absolutely heartbreaking. It was an amazing day at Wembley for Luton, but that would have been hard to take at a young age as well. And he's going to think, right, I want to go one step further this time.
Definitely, but you could say both teams were probably not expected to get into the position they were, so it's more of an experience one. Obviously, it's not a nice feeling to lose the final, but he's got there, performed well during the season, and again, more experience. Leicester are a stronger team than what Coventry are, in my opinion, and especially on paper. And he'll want to go again, prove himself again, and then hopefully take Leicester into the Premier League.
Well, Leicester City fans will see Callum Doyle in action for the first time this afternoon. Your team news is on the way as we join your commentary team of John Dunn and Matt Elliott.
Because memories never fade, no matter how long. We'll still remember the moments of excitement and the impressions of Thailand. Amazing Thailand, now even more amazing.
Lamiat is the belief that perfection lies within the details, where the finest ingredients deserve the finest craftsmanship. In every pursuit of perfection, there is passion and perseverance, where attention to detail inspires a masterpiece that's balanced and in harmony. This is the Lamiat philosophy, brewed into every drop of Chang beer. This is the taste of Thai perfection. Chang beer. We brew friendship.
Sixfield Stadium, a wind-swept Sixfield Stadium. You can see by the flags that the youngsters are holding. We've had every weather under the skies and the suns ahead of kick-off today, and this ground might be a lucky omen for Leicester City. The last time they were here was a pre-season friendly ahead of the 2012-2013 season. That was in the Championship under Nigel Pearson, and the Foxes went on to record 102 points and a title-winning season. Well, Matt Elliott has hot-footed it. He's still got the pace that he had when he was a player, has made his way up to the gantry. As we await for the two teams to enter the field. Northampton were promoted from League 2 into League 1, and in fairness, John Brady, their manager, has pretty much stuck with the same squad. Just two signings so far, Patrick Brough and Manny Monte. They've also brought back Kieran Bowie. He's rejoined on loan from Fulham. Brough and Bowie both start in what is Northampton's first pre-season game of the summer. Well, Leicester now under the stewardship of Italian Enzo Maresca, and his starting 11 includes all three of the Foxes' summer arrivals: Connor Cody, Harry Winks, and as of yesterday, Callum Doyle. They are all starting today. Wout Faes has returned. He was late joining the pre-season following his international commitment, so he starts at the heart of the defence, and there's another chance to shine for young striker Wanya Marcel Mandivajua. He will be supporting Jamie Vardy up front. The substitutes there listed on the left, there are a few more, couldn't quite fit them all into the graphic. Yannick Vestergaard, Wilfred Ndidi, Hamza Chowdhury, Daniel Everson, Casey McAteer and Ben Nelson are on the Leicester City bench this afternoon. We've seen the ground staff grabbing the garden chairs to extend the dugout just in front of us at the side of the tunnel. Well, Matt Elliott, who's hot-footed up with us, you mentioned it pre-match with Lewis and with Matt, that is a very, very strong squad for the Championship.
Mentioning hot-footing, I'm not quite sure that's the apt terminology. I'm certainly as slow as I used to be, that's for sure, John. Yes, a similar pace to my playing days. But looking at this fixture today, it's and looking at that lineup, as you say, I hesitate to do it, especially at this extremely early juncture. But I look at that lineup, I look at the squad, and there's been a lot of fretting and worrying about how many players are going to leave the club. Of course, key players have and may continue to do so over the next few weeks or so. But despite that, with the new recruitments as well, and perhaps one or two more, it does look a very strong outfit, doesn't it, at this Championship level? And I know it's a very hard division and there's lots of trials and tribulations along the way, but to set your stall out there must be that inner confidence, despite the devastation and huge disappointment of relegation. Some players will be affected by that, possibly, and might take a while to get back into some sort of rhythm, but I think with the additions, the new manager, the new feel, the new intentions, that I can't help but feel it's going to be a positive season for Leicester.
The other huge positive is the backing that the Blue Army have given Leicester ahead of this game. They've taken over, as Lewis mentioned, 3 sides of the Sixfield ground. They're behind both goals, and they're across on the far side in the half-finished south stand. The Northampton fans having to make do with just this main stand where they perch themselves in a stadium that holds just short of 7,500. We expect that Leicester have brought about 3,500, maybe 4,000 supporters, and that's them showing, Matt, that they're behind the new era. They're behind Enzo Maresca, and they're looking to drive their team back towards the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. Totally that. It's what are we talking, 45-50 minutes down the M1. It's not too much of a trek, but even taking that into consideration, to have the turnout that I have today after the season as it finished last campaign not so long ago, I can say that disappointment has almost been swept aside, really, and correctly so, because you can't linger on the past. You've got to look to the future, and the future's about to unfold in front of 3,500-4,000 Leicester City supporters who have done themselves proud just turning up here today in the masses that they have.
Leicester City's second pre-season game of the summer sees them arrive here at Sixfields to take on Northampton Town, the Cobblers, fresh from their promotion to League One. The big kick-off of both of these sides is just 3 weeks away, so for new boss Enzo Maresca, it's a big chance to run the rule over his new squad in front of around 3,500 City supporters who have made that relatively short trip down the N1. Mention that Maresca's starting 11 includes all 3 of the Foxes' summer arrivals: Connor Cody, Harry Winks, and as of yesterday, Callum Doyle, who out fast, returning late after international duty with Belgium. He's back in, he starts, and is an introduction to the 11 that took on Peterborough at Seagrave earlier in the week. For Northampton Town, 3 summer recruits, 2 permanents. One of those involved today, that's the big defender Patrick Brough, who's arrived from Barrow, and they've also got striker Kieran Bowie. He's rejoined on loan from Fulham after a successful spell here and been part of that promotion. In terms of opposition, Matt, what are we expecting from Northampton today? Looks very, very old school, shall we say. 4-4-2. Enzo Maresca predicting, I think, pre-match it would be quite a physical kind of Route 1 kind of game.
Yeah, you would predict it that way. Perhaps a little bit simplistic to do so, but I mean, you look at them physically, they're quite imposing, aren't they? Northampton there, as the teams walk past each other, shaking hands. Big, strong, strapping, abrasive looking, even in the warm-up and prior to the game. They look like they've got a little bit of attitude, good spirit. which will have been developed on the back of last season. As you said, not too many changes within the squad, so they'll be up for it today, won't they? They'll be looking at it thinking, right, Leicester just got relegated, are they going to be there? I know it sounds a bit extreme, but there for the taking with this opportunity, albeit just a pre-season game. Lower league players, they get themselves fired up for these games. It's an opportunity to play against, in brackets, players of a higher level, and they're going to showcase themselves individually and collectively. Leicester will need to be up for it, especially with the conditions. It's not going to be a stroll in the park, certainly not the early stages.
We were talking pre-match about what the formation would look like, and from a Leicester point of view, looks like a back four with Callum Doyle at left back. But as we kind of heard after the reports from the game against Peterborough at the training ground during the week, it did see the right back Ricardo and James Justin in the second half moving into midfield positions, and that will see Callum Doyle move across to almost form a back three when Leicester have possession, which they don't have early in this game. 22 seconds in, there's a crunching challenge, but the referee, who is this afternoon Dean Whitestone, waving that one away. Jakub Stolarczyk is the Leicester City goalkeeper at the start of this game.
Yeah, interesting choice of goalkeeper there, isn't it, with Everson and Ward both here, not featuring from the off, but a little bit sloppy from Fass early on. You mentioned the strong tackle, which it was. That was his secondary involvement in the game. Initially the ball was allowed to bounce between him and Cody, and Fass got sort of a welcome to proceedings. They got bumped off the ball, a little bit casual, and he's got to realise that he's going to have a battle on his hands if nothing else today, and needs to be more prepared.
And there we do see Ricardo inside the centre circle, Cody in the middle of Doyle and Fass when that takes place. The ball that was pinged out to the far side, but too much on that for Timothy Castagna.
Yeah, Leicester have those options from the back, Doyle as well, certainly to a degree. All three of them, Fass, Cody, and all played long balls, diagonal, from deep, pick players out. Cody in particular, maybe a little bit of a trademark of his almost, but on that occasion just get a little bit too much on it, which shows how difficult the conditions are. Swirling winds twice have caused the ball to go out of play directly.
Mentioned this is Northampton's first pre-season game. They had a training camp in Scotland, but there were a few injuries that were hanging over at the end of last season, so they decided not to take on any games. It was purely training and fitness, and today is their first game of the summer. They're back here on Wednesday when they take on Birmingham City, before they have 3 pre-season games on the road. And as we know, Leicester will be hitting the road next week. Trip to Asia to take on Liverpool and Spurs. Before that, there will be a behind closed doors game back at the training ground when they will take on Louvren. Doyle, with one of his first touches, was looking back towards Stolarczyk, and then as he turns he misses his kick. Not the best of starts to his Leicester career, but as we saw last season, Coventry very adept at championship level and rave reviews throughout his time with the Sky Blues.
Himself in a little bit of a pickle there, didn't he? A little bit indecisive, and then went to sweep it up the line with his left foot, just towed it with his right. Totally missed kick.
It was pinged across by Mitch Pinnock. Just on Doyle, he was handed his Manchester City under-23 debut, Premier League 2 debut under Enzo Maresca, and he was just 17, and he did start as a left back during those times before moving into a central defensive position.
Yeah, it shows that he's got a certain degree of mobility to play in that full-back position. I mean, it was certainly not a position that I was ever put into with my lack of mobility, so yeah, it bodes well for him, although he does look a natural centre-half, doesn't he? You know, in his physical stature, that will be his accustomed position. And I'm sort of pleasantly encouraged by the fact that Leicester playing a back four. Ordinarily, listen, it might be suitable at times throughout the season, but I think Maresca setting his stall out with a back three would have been a little bit strange, because I don't think it's how they'll play going forward. And I was thinking, maybe is it to accommodate Connor Cody and utilise him to the max, but quite a bit has been said about Cody's ability whether to play in a back four or a three, and Without doubt, he has the capability to do both, certainly at this level.
There was a late challenge by Dennis Pratt that has given Northampton a free kick, but at the moment the player down has refused treatment. Sean McWilliams. Pratt with a very close cut ahead of pre-season. Visit to the barbers before a trip to Northampton.
Yeah, in that instance, if I was the player there, McWilliams, I'd be blaming my teammate because the pass was short and it tempted Pratt into the challenge. Yes, a little bit late, a little bit clumsy, but a hospital pass, as they used to call it.
I need to go back, Matt, to what you said a moment ago. Your flexibility, you didn't need to go to left back, you just went up front and scored a few goals.
A lot of people don't realise I wasn't up front, I was just slow getting back from corners.
I try and give the compliment, but you just won't take it.
Yeah, strange but true. Strange but true. Take my first game ever as a professional against the World Cup winning Central Defensive Partnership, Chelsea. Frank Leboeuf and Marcel Desailly. Thanks for that, Martin O'Neill, chucking me in at the deep end.
It was downhill from there.
You watched the game then, yeah?
Bowie has kept the ball in on the far side but could only gift it to Harry Winks. Spent last season on loan with Sampdoria. Missed the first half of the Italian campaign with an injury, but came back and finished the season strongly. Here's Keenan Dewsbury Hall through the Leicester Academy, and challenged by Sean McWilliams, just sits in front of that Northampton back four, but he's still feeling the effects of that earlier challenge by Pratt, and he's gone down again. Northampton's squad isn't the biggest. Summed up by the bench, there's 4 players named, and then we've got try list A to H as substitutes, which could get very complicated later on.
That's a little bit of a throwback, isn't it? The modern day, certainly in the higher regions, the squads are huge, they're bulging, it's not bursting, some of them, aren't they? But lower down, not always the case.
They did make a signing yesterday, the former Walsall defender Manny Monte, but he's not involved today, the big defender, as Doyle tries to chip a ball towards Keenan Dewsbury Hall. McWilliams there again with a header.
Yeah, interesting to see that midfield area, how players are employed and how it works really. Winks is a sort of axis in there, which he's excellent at, as he's just done there. Switch play, his touch is exquisite, isn't it? He's neat and tidy. Just whether he can be effective or impactive further up the pitch, but also he's looking there to play the ball in behind. If we Castagna making a run on the outside, but he has that capability, he has that vision. He also sweeps up quite well, and positional sense is decent. Just wonder, when you play with that one holding midfielder and 2 advanced, sometimes you can get exposed a touch there. Interested to see how he copes when he's under a bit of pressure.
Free kick that Northampton were trying to take quickly with Mitch Pinnock. He's gone back to his defence before a switch of play towards Harvey Lintott. It's a return ball by Aperi to Lintott, but the challenge was a fair one, just inside the penalty area. Doyle's clearance has come back to Hondermark, and that will be a free kick right on the edge of the area. It was Lintott, the right back, who's getting forward. He felt it was fouled the first time. The second decision does go the way of the home side.
Yeah, a couple of instances there. Connor Cody hesitant to sort of commit to the challenge, because if you get it slightly wrong and it's full-blooded, you run the risk of a foul, or even worse, a penalty being given. A little bit edgy from Doyle as well there. He's sort of feeling his way into the game, shall we say, but needs to be a little bit more precise in his play, because as a consequence Northampton are building up a little bit of confidence and pressure on his right hand side.
It was moved from Hoskins to Pinnock. He was quickly closed down by Ricardo. First corner of the game, nearly 9 minutes in, goes the way of the home side, who was sporting their new away kit, which was launched this morning. Bright white against the royal blue.
Just looking at the mentality here, defending this set piece, pre-season, yes. Can't afford to be sloppy.
It's Hoskins who saw his cross just take a little deflection off Dewsbury Hall, and Stolarczyk, the young Polish goalkeeper, had his eyes firmly transfixed on the ball that was looping towards him dangerously.
I thought Northampton let Leicester off the hook a little bit there. Should have tested them out. They've been notoriously weak at set pieces, and then a couple of new additions there. The goalkeeper Stanarczyk got away with a scuff there that's ended up to Dewsbury Hall's feet, but they went short, and the cross got half blocked. Stanarczyk gathered relatively comfortable, albeit right on his own line, but the defenders would have been breathing a sigh of relief. They're thinking, these big, strong, aggressive opponents haven't had a sniff at that cross when they certainly should have.
Pratt nearly got Vardy away. A couple of deflections taking it away from Leicester's number 9. Here's Dewsbury Hall. His pass was blocked by Hondermark. Leicester back in possession with a switch of play, and it's just beyond Callum Doyle, who made 41 championship appearances last season, then 3 in the playoffs. He was in the final where Luton were triumphant over Coventry the season before. 36 League One appearances with Sunderland, so he's gradually made his way through the divisions. He remains in the Championship, but he hopes he'll be at the top end of it once again.
Well, you say gradually, he's only 19, John, yeah?
Yeah.
So it hasn't taken him that long, I suppose, but I get your drift. He's played at different stages, hasn't he? But Leicester, well, fast on that occasion, trying to play the long ball again. He's gone directly out of play. Conditions.
On the march cross, Fass had slipped with the attentions of Pere, and then it was flicked away by Ricardo for another Northampton corner.
Yeah, it was a good ball, wasn't it? A good delivery, trajectory, pace, had everything on it. Fass was struggling a little bit, just got nudged off the ball, but legally, I would say, it's Ricardo coming up behind Fass and dealing with the situation.
Hoskins, an in-swinger. Connor Cody's header comes out to Pinnock. Tries to deliver it back out to the far side. The referee's assistant has raised his flag. There was an offside. Hoskins has been Northampton's top goal scorer in 3 of the last 4 seasons, and in the last 2 he scored 22 last season, became the first Northampton player since 1987 to score 20 league goals or more in a season. They finished 3rd, grabbed that last automatic promotion spot, and are back in League One. Beaten semi-finalists in the playoffs the season before, as Winks finds Cody.
Yeah, neat play from Winks, wasn't it? There played into a little bit of bother. 3 players around him from all angles. He was totally aware where they were. The touch was exquisite again, as it is there. A little give and go with Ricardo in the middle of the park. Leicester on the break. Can they keep the momentum with this attack?
It's Pratt to Castagna. It's a ball curled into Vardy. Holds off his man before looking for Mady Vajua, drifting in from the left. It was Winks. It's back to Mady Vajua. Callum Doyle joining the attack. That's a beautiful ball, swinging and curling towards Castagna. Leicester's first corner.
A couple of opportunities there for Leicester. They did keep that momentum after the 1-2 with Winks and Pereira. Pratt plays it out wide, and the ball's put in. Vardy it was who made the run in behind. He dinked it across, and it came out to Winks. The shout was to shoot. It was certainly on. Perhaps if it wasn't his debut, he might have taken the gamble, but Mady Vajua as well.
Corner that Dennis Pratt will take, out swinging. There's only really Cody to aim for on this near side. Mady Vajua backing him up. Option still inside the penalty area, but the cross was charged out. And then the sliding challenge from Pinnock, and Leicester have a throw. Mady Vajua turns 21 in October, the Portuguese under-20 international. Made his debut for the Foxes back in January 22 in the FA Cup game against Watford. He's won another throw for his side on this near side.
And he's got something a little bit different. Seen him numerous times for the 23s. Good control at pace, runs at players, do something a little bit out of the ordinary. As with a lot of players of that type, it's providing the consistency, isn't it, and the end product. But must have been pressed in training to get his start alongside some more experienced colleagues.
Back-to-back starts as well this week for Mady Vajua as the sun descends upon Sixfields. Here's Ricardo in that central area again. Fass. Madi Vidua again, a heavy touch, a grimace as he loses possession. Younger brother Cheyenne is in the Leicester Academy as well.
It's a little bit of an opportunity for him, isn't it? I mean, pre-season or not, the manager's obviously seen something in him and thought, right, it's worth taking even just a brief look at. Often people get selected in pre-season and they get a little bit carried away with themselves. They think they've got a chance, and it's never really realistic. But Madi Vidua certainly could force a place in the squad for himself, if not the starting lineup.
Foul there on Harry Winks from McWilliams, who I think he's still smarting after that earlier challenge. Some retribution, although it was Pratt that made the foul. I recall a few summers ago, Matt, a certain Keenan Dewsbury Hall impressing in a pre-season game at King Power Stadium, went on loan to Luton and come back. The rest, as they say, is history. So it's those moments to grab your chance.
Well, you have to. Listen, you might get a second, and if you're really lucky, a third, but more often than not, chances are minimal. Sometimes it slips players by because they think, well, I've got an opportunity here and I'll just see how it goes, sort of thing, and before they know it, they're out of the team again because someone's back from injury, etc. They have to make the most of it while they can.
Speaking of Dewsbury Hall, it's his corner and Pinnock has to head over his own goal, facing his own goalkeeper. No Leicester players too close to that area, but it was a whipped-in cross that had the potential to cause all kinds of problems.
Wicked delivery, wasn't it? This time the wind came to Leicester's aid. Numerous times in this game the ball was drifted out of play, but that just got extra dip and pace on the ball. He's going to try a repeat of it.
Bit higher this time, and Doyle will keep the ball alive, but it's in the arms of Northampton goalkeeper Lee Birch, who joined at the start of last season following a spell at Sunderland.
Yeah, couldn't quite achieve the repeat, could he there? Just got too much on it, perhaps trying to whip it a little bit harder than he needed to, because the wind would take its effect anyway.
Harvey Lintott taking the throw, going back to Sam Sherring. Burge forced into a clearance with Vardy lurking, and from that Leicester win a throw.
Yeah, just watching Maresca here on the side, you see that he's pointing and involved, quite animated there on the side, and constantly cajoling and encouraging the players when they get something right. He's clapping there because Leicester put on a little bit of pressure. I haven't seen anything too revolutionary just yet, but small steps and all that. But there's quite a sort of definite way that Leicester are playing, certainly in possession. You can see it, but they're looking to squeeze and press and invite the opposition to play from the back, and then try and win the ball that little bit higher up the pitch than they have done, sort of as much as well they have done from last season. It was a bit intermittent, wasn't it? It was all a little bit not quite sure what the theory was at times, and it looks a little bit more clear cut from viewing today.
Pratt coming to take the ball from Ricardo. The name of Harry Winks that has been sung by the City fans as Stalacic's clearance bounces off the ankles of Sam Hoskins. Deadly last season in front of goal Hoskins. That wasn't really down as a chance, but he was certainly lurking with intent.
Well, the first effort by Stalacic was fortunate. He scuffed it, similar to that effort. It just evaded. I think it might have been Hoskins before, or was it Bowie? Is that Bowie or Bowie?
I've gone Bowie as in David.
They both work, don't they?
Yes.
But yeah, that second time, no excuses there. It needed a little clip. It was the wrong technique. It needs a little clip, so chip over. Don't try and play it through, stroke round the player. Extremely fortunate, could have ricocheted anywhere.
Doyle into Cody. 8 years with Wolves, well over 300 appearances, 10 England caps. He brings with him a wealth of experience. Madi Vidua, Dewsbury Hall pointing. Madi Vidua going through the middle and then saw his shot charged down by Shering. Here's Ricardo, plenty forward in blue, but that will land into the arms of Lee Birch.
Yeah, just looking through the ranks of Leicester, I mean, the quality, championship level is very high, you have to say. Yeah, a little bit out of the ordinary, really. Sort of adds to the disappointment of last season. Here's Castagna on the right-hand side.
Vardy the main target, but three more joining the attack as it's chipped towards Dewsbury Hall or Vardy. But it was Birch that stretched. All of a sudden the Northampton keeper has become a bit busier.
Yeah, they're making probes forward, aren't they? And but just looking at the setup of Leicester, there's no Madvadou aside, and let's say Jamie Vardy isn't as electric as he used to be. He's still quite sprightly, certainly for a player of his age, but there's no like out and out pace there in the forward areas, shall we say. Castagna is playing, he's wide on the right at the minute, you know, he's not lightning at all, but that's what's making me think perhaps Maresca's doubly keen to have a look at Madvadou, because he does have pace and a bit of something different. You know, he's being fed the ball there, he's a little bit erratic with his play, heads it back well for Dewsbury Hall.
Done well to use his strength to keep the ball, looking for the corner, but goal kick given.
Well, with Barnes looking like possibly not being in the mix come the start of the season, Leicester are going to, perhaps they'll look elsewhere, but they need someone with that little bit of je ne sais quoi, or that little bit of difference there, isn't it? You know, a bit of a game changer, because Leicester are sort of very neat and technically efficient, but you need a bit of dynamism every now and then as well.
Following the trip to Rennes a season or two ago, I can vouch for Matt's French. It is on point.
It got us by, mate, didn't it?
It very much
It got us out for the night and home safe.
It got us a taxi home. That was the most important bit.
I had to piggyback you, mate. They wouldn't let you in the cab.
Pratt's lovely ball to Castagna, just behind Vardy. Sam Shering is there.
Got to expect better there from Castagna, a player of his quality and the level that he's accustomed to operating at. You know, you practice that day in, day out as a wide player stroke fullback. Squared it too much, and Vardy's run took him ahead of the ball, and you know, you've got to play it into that channel, haven't you, in front? But he'll be disappointed there, Castagna.
Honda Mark, French born but joined Northampton from Barnsley in January. Came in at the vital time to steer Northampton to that promotion. Free kick that Hoskins will look to take quickly, in fact will leave it for his teammate, and it's played into the feet of McWilliams. Northampton born has come through the academy here at the Sixfield Stadium, likewise as Dewsbury Hall with Leicester, as he pokes the ball to Callum Doyle.
Interested on that right hand side, actually. Ricardo playing right back, who's actually coming into a central area now, as Manchester City fullbacks do on occasion. So we've become accustomed to that. We've given a licence there for Ricardo. Leicester playing a back three, as you mentioned, like sort of in possession. Ricardo is advancing. I like that. It gives an extra player body going forward. But for me, of the two, I would play Ricardo and switch him with Castagna. I think he's more suited to that advanced attacking role. Castagna more an out-and-out steady defender in my book, but Maresca obviously having a look at options.
If I recall, I think Ricardo's debut at Old Trafford for Leicester was on the right-hand side of a midfield. Has shown his versatility throughout his Leicester career, about to start his 6th season as a Fox. Castagna likewise a switch between left back and right back throughout his time. The sun is shining again, the wind has eased. Now we are talking typical pre-season conditions, as Harry Wicks looks up, short to Ricardo. Pratt started to make a move forward to give Conor Cody an option. It's Cody with a switch of play to Matty Verdua. Again, he'd be disappointed with that. Keen to impress. Enzo Maresca applauding the thought process behind the move.
Yeah, the conditions have settled, haven't they? The sun's out, the wind's dropped. All of a sudden, Cody's found his mark there with the cross, with the crossfield pass. He made it look so easy, didn't he? And he has that asset. You're right, Matty Verdua. There's a little bit of tension in that. Attempt to control, or was it just a little bit of sloppiness? But yeah, frustration on his behalf, because if he got the touch right, he was in a one-on-one situation, albeit quite far from goal, but that's when he's in his element.
Looks like Northampton are going to have to make a change. Sean McWilliams, who got that knock really early in the game, he can't continue, so he's wandered off the field. We're still waiting for the change to be made. McWilliams definitely off, and you would have saw just before that Enzo Maresca grabbing a word with Conor Cody. Maresca has championship experience of his own. He began his career as an 18-year-old at West Brom before moving on to Juventus. It's a transfer that might not happen too many times since.
Yeah, I'd like to know the ins and outs of that one.
Coaching-wise, Maresca spent time at West Ham under Manuel Pellegrini before he joined Manchester City 23s, and that's a great ball. And Vardy nearly taking the ball in his stride. Dyche just did enough, but here's Vardy again. Still the threat remains for Leicester. Here's Pratt.
Pratt it was with the pass. He has that in his armoury.
Ricardo tried a delicate pull back towards Castagna. It's come back to the Portuguese. Vardy, the only man in the middle. Still Ricardo, got it through the legs of one defender but not the other. And there's Dewsbury Hall. And those are the Leicester fans rising to celebrate a goal. And it comes from one of their own, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Patient build-up down the right. Ricardo constantly involved. The first cross was blocked. It came back to him. He chipped it up, and Dewsbury Hall from close range, popping the header into the bottom corner of the goal, in front of a jubilant Blue Army.
Well, the pressure was mounting, wasn't it, a little bit? Leicester forcing the issue, just increasing the ante a little bit, but Northampton first signs of looking a little bit ragged. Leicester pretty much dominant in possession the majority of the time. But the encouraging thing for me, as much as anything there, was the amount of bodies forward in the box. There was numerous options as Pratt put that ball into the box. Vardy was on the end of it, nearly. Dewsbury Hall, Matty Verdua at the back. Ricardo had just had a cross blocked. And you put that many options into attacking areas, by hook or by crook, sooner or later something's going to fall your way. And it was there on the plate for Dewsbury Hall.
Northampton trying to respond quickly. Linton's cross was deflected into the side netting. Northampton have made that change. This is where things get complicated. It's one of the trialists that's come on. It's trialist E that has come on, and that's as much information as we've got. I know it's the old joke, but it's a proud day for the trialist family. Corner swinging to the far post. Here he is. Shall we just call him E? Does that work better than trialist E? He wears 45, he's nameless, but he's looking to impress and trying to grab a contract as the header comes in.
Do you think he's a relative of the Knights that say knee? Have you seen that film?
You're showing your age now, but yeah, I know what you mean. I think my dad told me about it.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail, for those of you who don't know.
He's taken up that midfield position that McWilliams had, maybe slightly further forward. McWilliams was just holding things, and I think that's seen the number 11 Pinnock. He's dropped back deeper. And depending how much training he's done with his new teammates, this might be the first outing he's had with his potential new teammates.
Well, Leicester just trying to play out from the back there. Stanasic to Cody to Fass. Fass opens up. that's where Ricardo coming from full-back position into midfield backfire, because the pass opened up looking to play a pass to Ricardo, and there was no one there. So he had to play it further forward at a much tighter angle to Castagna. Got it slightly wrong, went out of play, lose possession. So little things to be worked on there, because you can't forget that your full-back's not where he is ordinarily. You have to know where your bodies and your teammates are.
Probably summed up there as Fast looked to his right and...
Yeah, similar scenario, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And similar scenario there with Stalacic as well. He scuffed it again. He just about got away with it. Trying to clip it out to Doyle here on the left-hand side. 3 times. He's done it 3 times. He nearly can't stop.
Connor Cody. Mentioned pre-match, Leicester's last visit here was a pre-season game ahead of a title-winning season in the Championship. They've made only 1 league outing here back in January 2009. In League One it was a 2-1 win. Steve Howard and Lloyd Dyer, the 2 Leicester goal scorers.
Stevie Howard did a little podcast, myself and Gerald Taggart with Steve not so long ago. Can be found on this very channel, I believe, or
it is
on the website. But great lad, Steve. Never met him actually before properly. Just said hello a few times in passing, but had a proper good giggle with him. He's a little bit old school as well, isn't he? he's in that sort of crossover period, but yeah, good lad.
It is worth checking out. This is Leicester. Oh, Leicester's the place, sorry. That's the right one for the podcast.
That's
I think
the one.
there's a few on there. Who else have you had? You've had a few there.
Gerald will not be happy. Ewan Roberts. You did Nuge, David Nugent.
Nuge, yeah.
The club's very own. What are 2 others?
Check out the back catalogue. Later on, watch this game first.
Well, watch this space, because there's a big scoop coming soon, but I cannot reveal.
Well teased, Matthew, well teased.
Yep. Worth the tease as well, I may add.
Here's Winks. Probably a good chance to tease that the 2 games in Asia will be covered as well, as is this one today. Matt will be heading out there with tags with Wes Morgan, the Leicester legends, heading to Asia. Emil Heskey. It's going to be a busy old time by the sounds of it, looking at your agenda, Mr. Elliott.
Well, it'll have to be a big plane with us 4 getting on there, won't it? And amongst others, but yeah, no, it'd be amazing opportunity to get out there and see the sights of Thailand, and out there working, representing the club as well. Honoured to do so, but very much looking forward to it. Yeah.
Some big fan events that have been announced on the website this morning. Here's Winks.
Going to see a few old friends of mine from 8-9 years ago when I was out there working as head coach of the National Army team, believe it or not. Now we're talking about strange but true.
That is a podcast on its own.
I'll save those stories for later,
yes,
John.
Definitely. Leicester remaining very patient here in the sunshine in Northamptonshire.
I think that'll be a feature of the game. I mean, they've overcooked it there. You could see it building up, couldn't you? But feature of the game, playing through the middle. Winks is hugely important in that aspect. This is the downside of Ricardo coming inside.
On the marks cross. Cody doing enough alongside a Perry.
Yeah, just to explain my comment there, is just Ricardo's coming into a central area. Overcrowded, Leicester overplayed. Northampton pinch it. All of a sudden, Ricardo can't be in 2 places at once. The big space open on that right hand side of Leicester's defence. Northampton pinged it out there, and it was a little bit of a threat for a minute. Eventually cleared, but the downside of trying to be imaginative, I still can't get it out.
Pre-season, Matt. This is where we get all the mistakes
imaginative
out, honestly.
There we go. And and creative, but can cause problems as well.
Even commentators and co-commentators need a pre-season. Here's Trilist E. He's dropped into a deeper position now. This is Dyche, Max Dyche, son of the Everton manager. He's come through the ranks here at Northampton, very highly rated defender. Now it's Lintott, and he's supported on this near side by Hondermark, and that'll be another Northampton corner.
Sean Dyche played for Northampton as well. Or am I just imagining that?
I always remember him at Chesterfield, but
yeah,
he was Kettering born, wasn't he? In kind of these part of the world.
Yeah.
Final 10 minutes of normal time. This first half. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall with the goal. If you're joining us slightly later from a Saturday afternoon out, soon Saturdays will be filled with football once again, as Stolarczyk and Cody both went for the ball that's still bobbling around, and Stolarczyk taking control of the situation. Connor Cody just rubbing his head, and
he's too happy. I mean, the keeper, there must have been a little bit of a shout, seemed too late, came through the crowd but not forcefully enough. Cody had no option but to challenge the ball, and I think he got a bit of a clump behind the left ear for his efforts.
Cody played in the Championship with Wolves and with Sheffield United after he left Liverpool, where he came through their academy. That will be a free kick. Harry Winks taking out Kieran Bowie.
Yeah, that's a little side of Winks' game that suspect is too strong a word, but an area that is not maybe that convinced at the moment. He doesn't have that physicality or that being able to cover the ground, say like Wilfred Ndidi does when he's at his best. He reads the situations very well. He can mop things up and clean them up and preempt them. But when someone's coming at you with a little bit of pace in those areas, sometimes need a bit more assistance.
Hoskins and Pinnock over the free kick again. Hoskins trying to bend the ball around Jamie Vardy. Blocked by the Leicester striker.
Well, he's done well there, Vardy. He's actually read the script there, as if it's going to be bent round the opposite alternative side, if you like. To a degree he's got away with it because he's moved to his left, and if the free kick had been hit where he was standing, there was a gaping gap in the wall and it would have gone straight through. But ultimately, brave and very good defending by Vardy.
Throw in by Pinnock. Fast reacting quickly. Ball coming back to Bowie, but his shot's caught wide. I think we're distracted by the Leicester players coming towards him, and it meant he had to try and grab at the shot that was well wide. Scottish born, his second loan spell since arriving here last season from Fulham. 40 appearances last season, 5 goals.
Yeah, just when you look at Leicester's team here, I mean this particular lineup, and there's an element of tight again for Stolarczyk, got away with it this time. Winks dealing with the problem, but again Stolarczyk slightly fortunate there. All's well that ends well, shall we say. But Leicester, they haven't got natural physicality rippling through their team, have they, or the squad even. Certain players more than others, but that's a feature of the game that I think they're going to have to be spirited as well. They can't just rely on their technical ability and the influence of the new manager to bring their assets to the fore, because you've got to show grit and determination, particularly in this division that they're coming up against in the near future. So I think they're a good test today. Northampton, on the face of it, look quite limited, but they're hard working, solid, physical, and that's going to be the case on a number of occasions, even in the Championship. It's an edge that Leicester need to bring to their game.
Good first time ball by Manny Vidua to Vardy, who shoots wide. He was caught late as well by the Northampton defender, sliding in, but he's quickly, acrobatically bounced back to his feet. Brilliant first time ball by the youngster Manny Vidua.
Yeah, good awareness by Manny Vidua. I think his best bit of play in the game, that's what he's capable of. Flashes of excellence there. Just weaved his way inside. Had the space to go and drive himself if he wanted, but the best option was the one he picked. Vardy, perfect timing of the run as usual, perfect weight of the pass from Manny Vidua. difficult angle for Jamie Vardy to score there. It was a little bit of a shot to nothing, shall we say, sort of more in hope than expectation that he'd find that bottom corner, but Jamie Vardy, anything's possible. But yeah, intelligent play, good link-up play with the youngster and the veteran.
Cody. Pratt trying to chest the ball to Castagna, the two Belgian internationals. Ball goes back to Dyche. Scored his first goal for the club in the last home game of last season here. It was a defeat to Bradford. By then, promotion was already sealed. Winks.
Tidy, isn't he, Winks?
Yeah.
Very tidy. I think he's probably been the standout player for me in this first half. He's not always, you know, explosive or exhilarating to watch his play, but technically very sound.
20 appearances in total for Sampdoria after that ankle injury, pretty much an ever-present from January onwards. And part of Enzo Maresca's coaching staff, goalkeeper coach Michel de Bernarden. He's joined from Sampdoria as well as a goalkeeping coach there, so those two may know each other. As Shrewsbury Hall again, first time. Curled one towards Castagna, that'll roll out of play. Applause again from Enzo Maresca watching on. Spent last season as part of the Manchester City coaching staff under Pep Guardiola. Started the season before as manager at Parma. Different experiences gained along the way. Throw that seems to have bypassed everybody.
Yeah, I think when Maresca was announced by the club, I think it was sort of like unilateral agreement or a pleasure, wasn't it? And that appointment had been made. There were 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 managers that were mentioned, and with mixed emotions, really, mixed thoughts, but I think unanimously Maresca, everyone was like, well, yeah, that's a great appointment, without even actually individually knowing too much about him, but certainly gives, you know, the right impression initially, and everything he does, it oozes a bit of class and quality, doesn't it? And hopefully we'll see the fruits of that down the line.
Seemingly, if reports are to believe, very sought after during the summer. Maybe a real coup for the Foxes. Pratt can turn into space. Vardy just on the shoulder of Dyche. Pratt was caught late as the pass was played to Castagna. Created the first, looking to create the second. Dyche in the way. Corner for City.
Well, again, bodies forward there. Shrewsbury Hall trying to get himself a brace. This pre-season fixture, Vardy, Madavadua, all in the 6-yard box with that ball coming across from Castagna. Pratt probably would have joined the fray had he not been knocked out of the equation. His boot slipped off, I think, but Leicester have those attacking options, and it's good to see them letting themselves loose and striding into the box, knowing that they've got security behind them.
Shrewsbury Hall whipped in a couple of dangerous corners earlier in the game. That one just as dangerous. Cody, the nearest Leicester player. Northampton for the moment have it clear, but Doyle will deliver the ball back into the near post. Pratt's header. Free kick.
Yeah, Doyle seems to settle down a little bit now, doesn't he? And Winks gave up the opportunity to have that shot earlier, and it fell to Madavadua on the edge of the box. Doyle put in a wicked left-footed, curling, spinning delivery. It was well defended by Northampton, but then again out here on the near left-hand touchline. The easiest option looked to go backwards, but he made a swivel and turn.
Pratt caught late, but Vardy is away. It's a narrow angle, it's into the side of the goal. Again, quick movement from Leicester, quick release from Pratt, knowing that Vardy's pace would see him get in behind. Again off target, but you just get the sense Vardy is just finding his pre-season range.
Yeah, well, similar effort, but on the opposite side, wasn't it? A little bit closer to goal, but certainly just as wide. The angle was against him. He tried to sort of clip it and catch the goalkeeper off guard, but it just took a touch off the recovering defender. But encouraging signs, Vardy looking sharp.
Vardy's header. Off target again, this time with his head. Another really good delivery from Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall.
Yeah, he's getting some real fizz and bend on the deliveries, isn't he? That's 3 or 4 now. But good signs again, you know, saying that Leicester are able to utilise Vardy in his favourite situations, where he is most a danger. They're winning the ball in good areas, and that's leaving the space behind. It's not controlled, patient possession all the time, because that doesn't leave any room for Vardy in behind. He still has that threat. Still has that threat in the right situations, makes that run, the timing of the run as well as the speed that he still possesses. And he's looking dangerous today. It's just that little bit too wide on a couple of occasions. You feel that a real opportunity is not too far away.
Fourth official has indicated 1 minute additional time. Few Leicester subs warming up before the break. The theory seemed to be that changes would take place on the hour mark rather than at half time, but we'll see if that's the case. Here's Doyle. Ending up touching the ball out of play. It's just getting to know each other a bit more on this near side. Dewsbury-Hall had moved into space and was disappointed the ball didn't come his way.
Yeah, I think he doesn't look a natural left back to me, Doyle. He looks pretty much what he is. It's a little bit of a push there forward on Cody. Surprised the assistant referee didn't give that, but he's doing adequately well, but it doesn't look to be coming totally naturally to him.
No Luke Thomas yet for Leicester, triumphant with the England under-21 side during the summer. His break extended, and rightly so, after becoming a European winner. Last knockings of this first half. It's Pinnock with the throw, and that is half-time. Leicester lead at the break. A goal on 27 minutes from academy graduate Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. After Ricardo initially saw his cross blocked, it came back to Timothy Castagna, delicately chipping the ball into the near post area, where Dewsbury-Hall was able to plant his header into the bottom corner beyond Lee Birch. Other than that, Matt, pretty much pre-season affair, would you say? Not too many chances. Jamie Vardy coming to life at the end of the half. A couple of early scares maybe for Jakub Stolarczyk in the Leicester goal, but a pretty even game.
Yeah, not too much in it. Goal scoreline just about right. Just about right. Leicester haven't been spectacular, but they've had the upper hand. They've been more composed, as you would expect. It's gone pretty much to type, hasn't it? Northampton had a little bit of a flurry early on. You'd expect that at home against opposition from a higher league. They're up for the challenge. Then the extra little bit of quality and cohesion that Leicester have got started to come to the fore, and Northampton dropping off and just sort of, I wouldn't say chasing shadows, but sort of digging in there rather than actually creating and constructing much themselves. Just waiting on certain situations, set pieces or the odd bit of loose play by Leicester, but generally Harry Winks has run the show there as best you can at this stage of pre-season, and sort of intermittently other players have contributed as well, and I think Maresca will be relatively satisfied with that.
Quick chance,
getting carried away.
Sorry, Matt. Quick chance to look at that goal and talk us through it. As I say, Ricardo kind of started the move off, and he was kind of involved almost through the whole of it, Matt.
Yeah, busy. He featured quite prominently, didn't he? Considering the right fullback, as you said, coming into midfield area, put himself on the ball quite a lot, and it helps Leicester get more players in the box. You can see there, 1, 2, 3. Ricardo himself there. Pratt puts the ball in. Castagna's in there. So what's that? 6 players, and a couple on the fringes, on the edges of the box as well. Winks is not too far away. So that's partly as a consequence of Ricardo coming into midfield, because it allows an extra midfielder to thrust forward, and increases your chances of something coming your way, even if it's not beautifully constructed. Just the sheer weight of bodies, something will fall in your lap, and it was that was pretty much it. Lots of Northampton defenders back there defending, but a little bit of quality into an area from Dennis Pratt. Well attacked by Dewsbury Hall.
And that was a goal that separates the sides at half time. We're going to have a quick word from our sponsors before we rejoin Lewis and Matt pitchside.
Because memories never fade, no matter how long. We'll still remember the moments of excitement and the impressions of Thailand. Amazing Thailand, now even more amazing.
Lamia is the belief that perfection lies within the details, where the finest ingredients deserve the finest craftsmanship. In every pursuit of perfection, there is passion and perseverance, where attention to detail inspires a masterpiece that's balanced and in harmony. This is the Lamia philosophy, brewed into every drop of Chang beer. This is the taste of Thai perfection. Chang beer. We brew friendship.
Welcome to pitchside at Sixfields Stadium, where at half-time Leicester are 1-0 ahead against Northampton in today's pre-season friendly. I'm with Matty Fryatt, and we can talk about the score as much as we like, but it's not really about that. It's about seeing how these players are getting on in a fairly new, creative system from Enzo Maresca. What have you made of it so far, Matty?
Yeah, there's a clear identity. You can see Ricardo Pereira sort of dropping into a midfield role in possession. There's been good combinations between himself and Harry Winks. And then you can see when Leicester haven't got the ball, it's about the high press. Can they get after the opposition? And albeit it's against Northampton, a league below Leicester, but teams don't like it when you're in the faces. So out of possession, it's the high press to regain. In possession, it's that overload where Ricardo Pereira is going inside, trying to find little pockets to play in and draw Northampton out to then play the space in behind.
Yeah, we were watching the game from up in the stand, trying to get a bit of a bird's eye view and trying to work out the system a little bit. And it took a little while, but how do you describe what Ricardo's doing in that kind of, is it the inverted fullback?
Yeah, it's that modern word of the inverted fullback, but it's just to get more bodies into midfield position, and he's so comfortable in possession. I think it's something that could really suit his game, and you can see the intentions of Leicester in terms of the build-up. They want the ball, they want to play with it, and they want the opposition to come onto them to play through. The only thing, I know it's a work in progress as such, but my only concern would be in transition, that if Ricardo's inside the pitch, would there be a switch to exploit the space or his normal position where he's left? Hasn't happened in this case, but going forward. But again, it's something to work on. Can you play in there when Leicester have got the ball, but out of it, can you quickly get back into right back position? But it'll be something where Faz he's looked so comfortable, by the way, White Faz. It's just like strolling around, but that might be something where he's got to deal with it and cover the space.
Yeah, you mentioned Faz. In terms of defensively, what they're trying to do, obviously you've got Connor Cody and you've got Callum Doyle playing for the first time. Quite far out on the left side. Is that where you're used to seeing him, or would you expect him to be more central?
No, a little bit more central, but you can see they're going sort of a back three in possession, and then Ricardo's dropping in. The two centre midfielders are going a lot higher. Dewsbury Hall got his goal from getting into the box. Dennis Pratt going a little bit higher. And then the front three, Vardy as high as you can. Madvidua out on the left, and also Castagna's the highest I've seen him in a long time. But yeah, Callum Dawes been a little bit higher than I'd usually expect, but you want width amongst the pitch, and that's what the back three provide, and then you get the two pivots in Winks and Pereira in their midfield positions.
Yeah, we've seen them with some really nice interplay, Winks and Pereira especially, but just pick up on what Matt Elliott said, and I think you might go against him a bit. He said that at times Leicester are overplaying through that midfield. What would you say to that?
I think a little bit of that is the case, where sometimes you could play forward a little bit quicker, but the whole idea of it is, can you draw Northampton out to then play in behind? So you need them passes to build up, to then get the midfield to press and then to play through. So sometimes you've got to do that to force the opposition out. Now if it was on as it deliberate, we saw it a few times where Cody's got on the ball and switched along diagonal, which has been great. Other times it's just, can it be a little bit quicker through, or when there's opportunities to look forward, can that be played? But I've got no problem in building through to then play over, or up, back and through with it. So for me that isn't an issue in it. Again, it's early days, but I'd rather see Leicester dictate and show what they're about and draw the opponents out.
Well, we've obviously talked about Ricardo operating in a slightly different role in that first half, and earlier in pre-season we sat down for a catch-up with Ricardo Pereira.
It's always different when you have a new manager. They have different ideas, different things they want the team to do, but I'm really happy and I'm enjoying these first couple of days.
Well, Ricardo, it's the first week back here in Seagrave. How does it feel to have returned?
Yeah, it's nice. After the break, had time to be with the family, myself to be in Portugal and spend time with friends and family, and it's good to be back to work.
That first morning on day one, you had a lot of testing in the gym and in the dome as well. How was that? How tough was that?
Yeah, we know what to expect. Normally we do that in the first morning, so it was like a routine thing.
I imagine when you go on the pitch for the first time though and get the footballs out, that's what you're really looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we like, do our work with the ball and start to be competitive again and start to roll things again.
What's the mood been like amongst the squad? Obviously a few new players have come in as well, a few have left, so how's it been with the players?
Yeah, a little bit different, like you said. Some players have left, some players arrived, a new coach, and yeah, start to know each other, and that's what the pre-season is part of, to do that.
As you mentioned there, a new manager as well, Enzo Maresca, coming into the club. Your first few sessions with him, how's it been?
Good, very good. It's always different when you have a new manager. They have different ideas, different things they want the team to do. But I'm really happy and I'm enjoying these first couple of days.
It almost feels like a new era almost starting here at the club. Obviously last season didn't end the way we wanted to, but now with a new manager, a few new players, it's almost like a new era for this season.
Yeah, of course we cannot forget what happened. We have to learn from it, but like you said, it's a new page today or yesterday, and yeah, we'll start from zero and keep going.
And how eager are you to start playing matches again? Obviously pre-season matches will start next week, and then it's really getting into moving towards the season.
Yeah, I think it's always different when you have games, even if it's friendly. It's different than just training. To be against a different team, they have different strategies. It's good to put us for tests and to improve.
There we go, Ricardo talking to us earlier on in pre-season. He's been playing a slightly different role in that first half against Northampton, where Leicester lead this pre-season friendly 1-0 and another 45 to come, and no doubt some new faces. Before we talk about who we might see in the second half, one thing that Enzo Maresca is going to be really interested in is the connections with his players. And one thing was Ricardo and Winks, the way they were communicating and absolutely just playing 1-2s here and there, getting things flowing. He'll be really impressed with that.
I've been really impressed with that. Good players play well together, just because there might be different styles, but you can see already there's a connection. Little 1-2s, drawing them in, one-touch passing. That's really good to see. But when good players on the same wavelengths and working in tandem, and them two are so comfortable on the ball. Harry Winks' touch is superb. We know about Ricardo Pereira, how good he is on the ball, and he was part of the build-up into which led to the first goal. But you can see there's already an understanding between those two in particular.
I'll tell you what's really interesting as well is the way Dewsbury Hall got that goal. It is that burst from deep, isn't it? And it's very hard as a defender to track that.
Can do, bursting through from midfield into them positions. He's known for his energy, and then it's can the opposition track those runs, which is really difficult, and it comes from sort of I think the first cross was blocked from Pereira, and then it's the second ball in where you're not always aware of your man, and then Dewsbury Hall's in the right place, and it's a good header, get off the mark, get a goal, and you can build on that, but it's difficult to track them runs.
And we saw Jamie Vardy in the warm-up, didn't we? Blasting a few into the car park. He's not quite found his range yet.
Not quite, but we know what Jamie Vardy's capable of. Them runs in behind, hasn't quite got what he's wanted for it, but you can see, and sometimes it's can that pass be released a little bit earlier, but going on the outside of his man, them movements across the centre-backs and just about finding the target and getting into it, but he'll get there in terms of sharpness and everything. It's just, can you look for that? And then if it's second balls, can the midfielders pick up on them?
Well, being a pre-season friendly, no doubt there will be a number of changes in the second half. Leicester City have taken back to the field. When you look at the talent on Leicester's bench, they are going to, those players who are subs at the moment are really going to want their chance to make an impression on the game.
Yeah, definitely. It can also disrupt things, but the ones who aren't starting are going to come on. They want to change things. They want to show what they're capable of. And you think of the talent amongst the Leicester squad, the names that are probably going to come on. You think, well, most championships would crave for that type of team, but they'll want to show what they're capable of. Be interesting to see if, in terms of the personnel change, will the tactics change as well, depending who he brings on.
Yeah, well, Leicester, they are ready to go. We're just waiting on Northampton to join us. Of course, we'll be back with you at full time where we'll hear from some of those involved. Hopefully we'll get Connor Cody over for a chat. What have you made of him? You can hear him, can't you? Even in the stands, you can hear he's constantly bellowing out the instructions from the back line.
He is, but you want to see that. It was appealing in terms of a throw-in and everything, but you want that type of player in questions, even of the referee, the opposition, you know is there, and you can already see he's taking that leadership and just making other players alert, and then maybe he's even more focused on his game, but everyone else can't sort of switch off for a moment. He won't allow that, and it's so refreshing to see, and I think it is his natural character where he wants to lead and sort of organise and do things through his voice, and especially the higher you go up and Leicester's level, it's the communication. That's what they need, bodies in the right positions and appealing all the time. It's a pain in the arse when you're playing against, but you also appreciate it when you're on someone like his team as well.
Good stuff. Well, Northampton are back out on the field and we've got the full second half coming your way, so let's rejoin our commentary team of Matt Elliott and first John Dunn.
Thank you, Lewis. Two changes for Leicester taking place at the break, with Daniel Everson coming into goals. Jakub Stalacic going off. Christ, those two up on the hill. You can see the wind he's whipping around Sixfield, and it's quite a perch up there. Good view of the pitch. Saves you a couple of quid, and you can bring a packed lunch as well. The other change for Leicester has seen debutant Callum Doyle going off. He has been replaced by Victor Christiansen. So a more natural left back coming on, Matt. Don't think it will change the way, or possibly change the way Leicester play in terms of that back three, back four when in possession.
No, I don't think so. I think Ricardo, as he's stating now from the kickoff, he's in there in midfield alongside Harry Winks. I don't think Christensen will be doing similar. He's the designated fullback to operate in that way, isn't he? And he's had 3 or 4 touches already in the second half, ping-ponging it with Harry Winks and Connor Cody. But yeah, I did look at the substitutes bench again at half-time and sort of raised an eyebrow to myself, thinking, I'm surprised Christensen hasn't started there at left-back, but you don't read too much into it at this early juncture. That Ricardo receiving the ball in a tight area there, turning well, Winks combining superbly. Those two mentioned by Matty Fryatt and Lewis, rightly so.
An instant connection. Here's Winks on to Ricardo. Those two partner each other in midfield. Just before kick-off, Enzo Maresca grabbed Ricardo, having a long chat with him, and probably still talking about that role and what he wants from him. He's gearing up for a big season this time last season and got injured. Here's Castagna. Again, it was just behind the key targets as another cross comes in. And it's Triley who gets the ball away. That was the Northampton change that took place in the first half. Sean McWilliams went off injured. Trilist E came on the bench for Northampton. If you're joining us late, we've got Trilist A to H. It may appear and make things very confusing in the second half. But as Matt alluded to,
we've got to go numbers, surely, then, haven't we?
They've got numbers. But in terms of pronouncing who's on the ball, it's Trilist to Trilist.
Leicester's some fun with that. We just make up all sorts of names, can't we? Tom, Dick and Harry.
Leicester do have on the bench James Justin, Mark Albrighton, Kelechi Iheanacho, Harry Souttar, Patson Daka, Yannick Vestergaard, Wilfred Ndidi, Hamza Chowdhury, Casey McAteer and Ben Nelson. Danny Ward is here as well. He missed the game against Peterborough on Tuesday. It does go to a back three with Christiansen over on that far side.
Yeah, well, you're looking for little traits of Guardiola stroke Man City style of play, aren't you? And that's the most obvious one, isn't it, today so far? There's a willingness to sort of play through midfield. There's a willingness to press the ball as well as best they can. Not quite as slick and fluent as the Premier League and treble winners, of course, but similar basis there, isn't there? You know, there's that element of that style of play, and one that they'll work on. So I don't think you'd be looking to sort of carbon copy Man City, because not many teams can do, but there will be facets of their play that will be of the type.
The theory is behind it. As Fass and Ricardo exchange passes quickly. Jeffrey Horn in the ball played into the edge of the box. It's come to Castagna, and then Pratt worked well by Leicester, and the outstretched boot of Max Dyche getting the ball away. And then it's Bowie who looked to take on Fass, and he's done well to get away from the two challenges, but he plays the ball blindly to Harry Winks.
Yeah, just thinking as well about it. I was at the training ground last week, and Dewsbury Hall breaking down the left.
Did have Vardy in the middle if he opted for a quicker ball in, but he's...
Well, amongst others, yeah, there's numerous options there. Castagna, Pratt again.
Madi Vidua turns one way and then the other before he's dispossessed by Triley C. When did he sneak on? We've got another one.
Good spot.
Yeah.
Good spot, Johnny.
Number 43 is Triley C. We'll just call him C for short.
You call him what you want, mate. I'm keeping out of it.
Cheers for the solidarity there, Matt. But I know you've always got my back.
But no, I was talking to a few of the boys, and they were speaking about the intensity of the training of the manager himself, his personality. You know, similar traits to Guardiola. It seems a bit easy to say that and suggest it because, you know, there's a similarity in their looks. Obviously, they've been at Man City, and it doesn't necessarily follow. But there are going to be, you know, certain aspects that come from the same stock, if you like, and I think that can only be a positive thing, can't it? You know, as long as it's applied properly, not too risky, don't overcook things. But the intensity of the session, the amount of sessions. They look fit for this stage of the season, the pre-season, don't they? I know time will tell because it's only just started the second half, but they look relatively comfortable and athletic and strong in themselves. And you know, at this moment in time, they're cruising it, aren't they?
Is there an element from the players, knowing where he's come from, that there's almost that, he's worked with Pep, we can get some of that from him?
I would certainly imagine so.
Oh, Winks has played the ball straight to the face of Ricardo.
There was a connection there.
Yes.
It was like he connected with a right hook then. He played that pass straight into Ricardo's jaw. He's bounced up well.
Yeah. The two did smile somehow. Exactly. I think Ricardo was smiling, maybe he was just readjusting his jaw.
Yeah, exactly. It was caught with some force, in fairness, took it well. But Yeah, I think without a doubt. Harry Winks is still apologising now. But I can only sort of relay how I would feel in that situation. You just think, well, it's Pep's right-hand man. He's got to have something about him. Guardiola doesn't have it.
Ricardo is clearly not shaken by the blow to the face, because he's lobbed that one over the top to Dewsbury Hall. The ball then fizzed across the goal. Winks and Ricardo still apologising to each other, still smiling.
Yeah, as the blood trickles down his chin. But to coin a phrase again, it was sort of replay of it. It's caught in full force, hasn't it? But Guardiola doesn't have any Tom, Dick and Harry, or try list C, D or E in his backroom staff, does he? So you fully expect him to be a man with qualities, and I'm sure that will prove to be the case, and it's only going to motivate you and inspire you and give you confidence as a player.
Just to put out, try list F is on as well, number 46. So there's 3 of them, 3 of the try list family. Mum and Dad are so proud. Here's Winks, we know who he is, yes. And he looks for Vardy, we definitely know who he is, as he tries to hold off, or Shering holding off Vardy. The rain descended us on a minute ago, it stopped again. 4 seasons in one day, as Crowded House once sang.
They did indeed. Yeah, it has been a bit changeable, to say the least, hasn't it? But intelligent play there from Winks. So he's so neat and tidy, always got space. It looks easy for him, doesn't it? But he's also effective there. Loose pass from Ricardo on this occasion. That's where Leicester could come unstuck, because they've got bodies forward in advanced area, Ricardo being one of them. Loose from Northampton, but you can only expect the quality. All of a sudden Fass and Cody could get exposed, but Leicester looking sharp there. I've lost my point. The point I was going to make after.
Again, it's pre-season, Matt. Get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Get the rustiness out of the way. But I've totally forgot. I have to come back to it, John. At a suitable time.
Dewsbury Hall foul. He's the goal scorer.
Oh no, Winks.
Of the game.
That was it. Sorry, Winks, and his vision there. Vardy, he's not just sideways and simple pass. He'll play the percentages, but then he's always keeping half an eye out the side of his eye. Watch Vardy's run. He's sucked in the centre half, spanning behind him. Boom! Beautiful ball over the top. He was covered well by the second centre half of Northampton, but he has that penetration within his abilities as well.
Dewsbury Hall looking for Madi Vidua in front of that half-finished stand that Leicester fans are fully populated. I'm guessing the roof isn't up to scratch, because a number of the supporters with hoods and hats to protect themselves from the rain when it does come. It's been like that for 9 years now. It's been an ongoing battle. The council at the time loaned the then owners about £10 million to build it. That money went missing. The contractors weren't paid. They pulled out, as you would expect, and then the new council have now sold the stand and the land behind it back to the football club, although that went to a legal fight because a property developer was willing to pay a bit more for it, but the ruling was it would go to the football club. That only happened last month, so Northampton hoping now over the next few years can start to finish off the work. If it's not done in 5 years, the council buy it back for £1.
You were up late last night, weren't you?
There you go, Matt.
Hey?
Christiansen over the top, Dewsbury Hall, he's got the goal. Can he maybe assist with the second 2 and now 3 to pull it back to? He's still going. Burge got a touch, but Vardy, his shot blocked. Dennis Pratt straight at Burge. Well, some real excitement early in this second half, and Dewsbury Hall driving forward, and it came to Vardy. We thought the net would bulge, and then Burge quickly on his feet and in the right place to make the stop from Pratt.
Yeah, it's increasingly become a feature, hasn't it? Dewsbury Hall, that energy that we know he's got, good timing, good cooperation with his teammates as well. Madi Vidua, recognising that if he came short, he'd create the space for Dewsbury Hall in behind. I think was it Christensen who played the ball over, but the space was inviting the pass into that channel. Dewsbury Hall just striding away past his opposition there and just cut into the box. Looked like he was going to get blocked out, but did well, nice and clever with little dinks, but deflected cross, and it came to Vardy. Vardy didn't get a great connection on it. And then Pratt as well, he went for the side foot. I think if he's properly in a confident mood, he backs himself, puts his laces through it. He needed power if it was going to go in from that. But a little bit timid from Pratt, which is unfortunately the case on a few occasions. I feel he's got so much more to offer, the potential's there, but great break from Dewsbury Hall.
Nearly a chance for Mady Vidua to show off that pace as Dewsbury Hall was looking for him down the left. Number of Leicester players getting ready. 56 minutes gone. We're expecting a host of changes on the hour mark. Here's Ricardo. Again, the rain quickly dissipates and the sun begins to shine on Sixfields. Here's Christiansen. On to Ricardo. Winks. Took the ball on the turn. Kind of Maddison-esque the way he did that. Then the ball out to Mady Vidua. The flag raised on this near side. No VAR next season, Matt, or this season coming as well. It's a change that we'll get used to in the Championship.
Not at all, eh? Yeah, that's welcome as well, isn't it? I think. I know it was when they played against. It was in the cup game against Notts Forest. There, I mentioned it. Obviously, it went disastrously. But I remember the early part of that game, and no VAR. It was such a pleasant relief.
Yeah.
You know, barring any horror decisions that are disastrous, that are wrong. You know, give or take a little bit here and there. You just lose the flow of the game, don't you, at certain times?
Hoskins, Northampton's main man. He was the League Two Player of the Year last season as the header comes in from the French-born Will Hondermark at the back post. And there is bags of movements below us in the two technical areas. We're going to get another host of trialists for Northampton. We're going to get a number of Leicester players making their appearance. The Leicester players we know: Albrighton and Didi, Chowdhury. Vestergaard was in there somewhere. Casey McAteer, another player that has come through the academy.
Yeah, well, you'd like to think that, in contrast to a lot of pre-season games, you know, when the wholesale changes are made on that hour mark, the game normally sort of dwindles away, doesn't it? Peters out. It becomes a bit of a stalemate and a bit of a non-event. But with those players there that you mentioned, they've all got not points to prove, but marks to make, haven't they? Especially with the new manager. So hopefully they'll bring renewed energy to the game rather than detract from it.
It looks like a queue for two buses, the way the players have just lined up on the side of the pitch. Good luck, everybody. Here we go.
It's quite a show of strength, though, isn't it? From Leicester's point of view. I mean, Northampton looking across going, that's a Championship team. Basically, 9 changes are they making, it looks like.
Fast, Cody, Castagna, Ricardo, Pratt, Winks, Vardy, Dewsbury Hall, Mady Vidua going off, Chowdhury, Vestergaard and Didi, James Justin, Patson Daka, Mark Albrighton, Casey McAteer. I think I've grasped everybody there.
Well, pretty much, yeah. All 9 who came on. McAteer, even he's featured. No, maybe not featured in the Premier League, has he? But all the others have, played certainly a fair amount of games, stroke most of their career, some of them, in the Premier League, and that's. I wouldn't classify these boys as second string, but part of the squad of a Championship team is a pretty daunting prospect for other teams, really. But I don't want to be overly confident, but they must be well fancied, aren't they?
Albrighton, his first involvement as he plays in a low cross that's headed away. Then it comes to trialist G, who is on. There are some substitutes that Northampton have made that we have got the names of. Peter Abimbola wears 27, Jamari Hart wears 34, James Dadge, he's come on, he's the goalkeeper. 37 is Leo Jenkins. Anyone else with a 4 at the start of their number is a trialist. Here's Harry Suter, didn't mention him. But basically it will be 2 separate 11s. We saw Everson and Christensen come on at half time, and then it's the 9 others that have made the change on the hour mark.
You're not too confident though, are you, when you come in as a trialist?
Yeah.
And you're handed a number 46 shirt. There's only how many in the squad?
We're up to 48 is the highest number. Daka's offside.
Yeah, but in their original squad, what, 25, let's say?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
25. Hang on, how did I get to 42? There's 17 players in between me. What's my chances? I'll just jump on the bus now, yeah?
Feel sorry for the kit man, he's had to put all the numbers on there this morning. Daka. Daka was on, maybe Iheanacho was off, but that's a tight call. Bring back VAR.
Bring back VAR, what were we talking about?
Well, he's not a trialist. That was Jamari Hart. No, it's Leo Jenkins has let the ball go under his foot.
Well, he's extremely lucky he's not a trialist, because if he was, he would be on the bus.
Here's Iheanacho. On that far side, he's then dispossessed briefly. Final touch off Mark Albrighton, who finished the season last season in the Championship on loan to West Brom. Casey McAteer, who's come on, he was on loan at Wimbledon. Hamza Chowdhury spent all of last season in the Championship with Watford. Suter, who joined in January after leaving Stoke. So again, Championship experience is sprinkled, and maybe that's kind, amongst the Leicester squad. There's a lot of players who have played there, James Justin as well.
Yeah, but they've got a good mix actually, haven't they? You know, all right, ideally as a player you think, I want everyone to be ex-Premier League players, but they pretty much all had a taste. But they've had a little sample of the Championship as well, a number of them. That won't be such a bad thing.
Albrighton winning the ball after some neat footwork from trialist F. Where's 46? Here's Patson Daka. Iheanacho waiting, so too is McAteer. Final touch came off Patson Daka. Goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, Daka, he's willing, he's robust, and he's pacey. Not quite sure that he's got enough about him technically to play out wide. For me, he's an out-and-out goal scorer for me. You put him in certain positions and he looks as composed as anyone. But general play, in his build-up play, etc., and his decision-making is not there a lot of the time. It's a work in progress, but how long do you get? But I think if you asked him, he'd want to be central, and at the moment Iheanacho holds that position, and of course Jamie Vardy.
Chowdhury was pretty much an ever-present for Watford last season. 36 Championship appearances in total.
He did well, apparently, didn't he?
Yeah,
by all accounts.
Had a loan spell at Burton as well as a youngster. Had a few games in the Championship at the first half of their season. Burton is the venue earlier in this campaign for Leicester's Carabao Cup match. And Ndidi in an unusual position, racing down the right, a deflected cross that goalkeeper Dad just come to claim.
Yeah, I was mulling over Wilfred Ndidi's situation, because I think we can say that Harry Winks is going to be, barring anything untoward, you know, Harry Winks is probably going to be in that defensive holding role, linking everything up like he has done so impressively today. Different type of player to Wilfred. Perhaps Wilfred could play alongside there, but does he? But then you've got Hamza. You know, he's in the equation. He plays in that holding midfield role now. As it stands, Wilfred indeed, like I say, he's advanced where Dennis Pratt was for the first 60 minutes or so. Not a natural position for Ndidi. It's some decisions to be made, really. And at the moment, again, very early, don't make too much of it, but Chowdhury getting that holding position where Ndidi hasn't. Does that say anything, or is it just early days?
Vestergaard. Just 3 appearances last season for the Danish defender, who turns 31 in August. Starts against Gillingham and Stockport in cup competitions. A substitute appearance in the League Cup at home to Newport. Does a new manager bring a fresh start for the former Southampton defender?
Yeah, frustrating time for Vestergaard, and he has his attributes. He can play more than he's given credit for. He can pick a pass, actually, but
an even bigger crowd matters gathered on the hill. Packed lunches are out.
Just watch the game, John. Keep your eyes
Sorry.
on the game.
There was just a slight lull. I just thought I'd take in the surroundings.
All right, mate. Hey, so one thing that is worth noticing, that's got to be the biggest central defensive partnership in any league across Europe.
Here is the other part of it.
Or
Harry
even
Suter.
beyond. Was he 6 foot? They're both 6'6" at least, aren't they?
Indeedy again on the right. His cross deflected away for a corner, and then Suter and Vestergaard are striding.
I mean, Vestergaard,
should we say menacingly?
Looks huge, doesn't he? But then Suter looks a couple of inches taller or so on him. Not as heavily built, but
corner is dealt with without Suter or Vestergaard getting involved. It's the
they should be menacing, John. Put it that way. If they're not, questions need to be asked.
McAteer, he's wriggled free, and he's set one up for Suter where you thought the height would be the advantage. Maybe he almost rose too soon for that one, and the header has dropped over the bar.
He's got a little bit McAteer, hasn't he? I've seen him in the 23s. Seen him play the first team down at Gillingham. I thought he performed pretty well. He's got a confidence about him. He doesn't look overawed. You know, he looks like he thinks he's at home in this sort of company. And he may well prove to be right. He works hard, athletic, industrious, bags of ability as well.
18 appearances in total last season for AFC Wimbledon. Got his first goal in professional football. It was a defeat. It was at home 3-2 against Salford. The season before, at the end of the campaign, he had 9 games with Forest Green Rovers. So again, a player that's just getting more and more experience with each season.
Yeah, he did well on both counts. Apparently, very popular with both sets of supporters. I can see why.
Here's Daniel Everson. Made his Leicester debut early last season in the Carabao Cup draw at Stockport. Became the penalty hero. Went on to make 12 Premier League appearances towards the end of the campaign. Daka's backheel to McAteer. Lovely ball to Iheanacho. And then it's Ndidi, and it's wide. Northampton cut apart down the Leicester left, and when it came back to Ndidi, not renowned for his goals, as he swung his left boot at the ball, and it's a shot that goes wide.
Well, beautiful move, wasn't it? Move of the game. Sweeping the Vestergaard and Chowdhury, Christensen into Daka. Daka flicks it round the corner between his legs into the path of McAteer. McAteer slides it to Iheanacho. It's a quick, slick succession of passes there. Do you know what? I'll give Wilfred the benefit of the doubt there. I think as Iheanacho's pulled it back, I think he got the slightest of nicks off the Northampton defender, which just put him off a touch. He had sort of had to stutter and readjust just really abruptly, and that put him off a little bit. Like you say, not recognised for his finishing, but it was a reasonable effort, and he's got himself advanced there. But beautiful play from Leicester.
Suter, early ball into Iheanacho, a flick that you can only get away with on pre-season, and he very quickly apologises.
It's funny, your thought process sometimes there. I wonder what he's thinking. You think it must be that. Oh, it's pre-season. It's funny that you can flash things through your mind so quickly, isn't it? Pre-season, yeah. Oh, I fancy that. I'll give it a go, shall I? Oh, instantly thought, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But right in front of the manager as well. Yeah. Not a good move, Kelechi.
Try list to try list to try list, and here's another try list. This is E. He was the first of the numerous try lists to make his way into the field. Here's try list B. I did ask the member of the Northampton media team if he could share any of the names, but I was told no.
Why can't you? Is it a legal thing, or he just doesn't know the name?
I think, is it more the case they don't want other clubs to know which players are here in case they fancy taking them as well? I'm not sure.
Right. I'm sure the scouts are here. You can work out.
Oh, I think so.
Ask a few questions, work out who number 45 is.
Leicester free kick. Leicester's pre-season 12 months ago, 6 games, just 1 defeat. Wins against Sevilla, Preston, Derby, Hull. There was a draw with Leuven. The game they lost was the first game of the pre-season, was at the training ground against Notts County. The game here is the only chance that Leicester supporters will grab of the UK to watch the team in action. Behind closed door game this week against Peterborough. I think there's one against Leuven as well at Seagrave before the trip to Asia. But there's plenty of Leicester fans over in Thailand, as you'll be able to vouch for with your trips there.
Yeah, well, keep an eye out for them. But I mean, there's not a multitude of fixtures, is there? There's not. I mean, to be honest, I've noticed a little bit of a trend that modern day players seem to play less full 90 minutes, certainly, than we did back in our day. I wanted to play at least 3 full games before the big kick-off. And now I think you rarely see players playing like even two full games, with all the changes and the size of the squad, etc., etc. But they certainly look fit enough. It works for them, whichever way they're doing it.
Christensen to Vestergaard. Chowdhury, 2 to his left. McAteer. Daka further forward, and McAteer threading the ball through. That will be dealt with by trialist A. Chowdhury. James Justin, as the right backs have done so far, moving into that central area. Albrighton onto Ndidi. He's down the right again. He's got Iheanacho as an option, and then he's got Daka. And he hits the fascia of the stand as he blasts the ball goalwards. But it's another effort off target for the City.
Yeah, it was very easy. It was well worked centrally, then comes out to Albrighton. Northampton looking very stretched defensively, but indeed he make an excellent run. Feel for him a little bit there again, because it was one of the few times that Leicester didn't have sufficient numbers in the box. Indeed, he's made the break. Iheanacho was there, but it sort of marked. McAteer was on the edge. Daka, he's done well to find Daka. He got his head up and forced the ball through, but a little bit of a rushed, hashed finish from Daka. But he was looking for more options there, Wilfred. And he's done okay in that role, hasn't he? He's probably surprised himself as well as his manager.
Justin moving centrally, Suter moving to the right. This is trialist B, and this is the run of Jamari Hart, under 18 defender. Usually plays as a winger, but he's come on as a left back. He's earned a corner here. Northampton under 18s have already played 3 games, so Hart has probably got more action than most.
Yeah, again, a little bit of a problem when Leicester lose the ball semi unexpectedly. Albrighton there trying to put one around the corner with his left foot, gets blocked. All of a sudden Leicester exposed a little bit. Albrighton had to give his all to get back and force the corner.
Vestergaard's header. Another corner for the home side with about 15 minutes remaining. Northampton fans on this near side watching on intently. The Leicester supporters have certainly made themselves heard throughout the game. This time a lowered delivery that came off the knee of Iheanacho. The final touch came off trialist A, and it will be a goal kick to Leicester.
Yeah, that showed the benefit of having two huge centre halves there in the middle of the 6-yard box there, sort of semi-zonal setup. But Leicester are getting the first header, and then the corner takers sort of thought, right, I'm not putting it in that area, let's try something a bit different. Went low and flat at the near post. Leicester got the bounce of the ball. Situation was dealt with there because they didn't fancy putting it into the central area with Vestergaard and Suter on prowl.
Christiansen. Indeed, he was about to make a run through the middle, just held his run, was risking veering offside as Leicester keep the possession inside their own half of the field. Vestergaard and Suter keeping the ball, and Suter spotting the opportunity to find Wilfred Ndidi. Now Iheanacho, the two Nigerians combine on the edge of the box. Through the legs of Iheanacho. Suter backing him up and knocking the ball nicely towards Patson Daka, but his control was off target, and then a free kick given away as McAteer was eager to win the ball back.
Yeah, good vision by Suter. Again, he can pick a pass as well. One of the 4 main centre halves on show today can all do that. Doyle as well, the 5th. All can find their man. But Daka is a little bit erratic, isn't he? And hit and miss there, because it's important. You could say, oh, he's unlucky, it's easily done, it was a difficult ball, but it can make huge differences in the game if he got his touch right on that occasion. Difference between winning and losing a game.
Iheanacho closing down goalkeeper James Dadge is another one that's come through the Northampton Academy. He signed pro last summer, and he spent most of last season at St Ives in what was called work experience, not loan. Maybe that was due to his age. I suppose you touched on it earlier, Matt. You wanted the kind of 3 90-minute games, and is that what this is about? It's getting that rustiness that maybe we saw there from Patson Daka, just trying to get back up to speed with match action.
Yeah, maybe. It's a little bit of a feature of his play, though. You know, he is a little bit hit and miss, isn't he? But a natural finisher when presented in certain situations. But yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting people to play. I think I'm half surprised that people are playing an hour. So many of them did today. I quite like seeing that. As a spectacle, it's better than 2:45s for me. But listen, it's the first major game. Like I said, you've got that many players to deal with. It's a real conundrum for managers and backroom staff, and they're working out who plays what and for how long for and at what intensity, and
especially for a new manager still getting to know these players, and you may have seen a difference from training to what he's seen in a game. And Ndidi again, it's a trademark down that right side, and this time he set one up towards McAteer. Good defending on the far post by Peter Abimbola. Here's a chance for Christiansen. Abimbola there again, and then it's James Justin into the ground and tipped over the bar by the youngster James Dadge. Leicester so close to a second goal.
Well, you wouldn't be surprised if it was to a rise, wasn't it? But indeed, again, yeah. I mean, we talked about Dewsbury Hall in the first part of this second half being a main feature. So is Wilfred Ndidi on the opposite side, on that diagonal forward running midfield position. I tell you what, he's put in some decent deliveries as well. He hasn't just tried to force the ball across. He's picked someone out and tried to dink it into an area. He's done well.
Mark Albrighton with a low delivery. Not sure that was the plan, but it nearly fell kindly for Daka. Chases on, but James Justin will get the ball and ferry it back to Daniel Everson.
Justin did reasonably well with the strike as well. The one thing is, keep it down, get over it. He did that, certainly a little bit too much, but with that bouncing ball, it arrived awkwardly for the keeper. Did well to tip it over.
Iheanacho. The run was from Ndidi and the flag initially stayed down, but then it was raised. And how typical. That's the one he sticks in. Both the referee's assistant and Wilfred Ndidi outstretched their arms. That one won't count.
No, much more central, wasn't it? But a good 2-3 yards offside, I would say. But again, yeah, it's nicely put together by Leicester, though. They're dominant in possession. Northampton have not given up the ghost, but not really offering much in any department. It is a little bit too easy, but nice to see certain aspects of Leicester's play that you didn't perhaps see enough of last year. Deep runs from midfield, getting beyond the centre forward or the two players at times who are in that forward area. I think it's something Leicester lacked, even from when Maddison was around. When he was at his best and his most effective and dynamic was when he was getting beyond the striker, most of the time Jamie Vardy. And he was stretching oppositions, and he's also getting more clear-cut opportunities himself. Now you've got two midfielders, predominantly Dewsbury Hall and Wilfred Ndidi today, but Dennis Pratt also, and who's on the left-hand side now? Lakatia as well. They've all ventured forward and causing problems for defenders. They hate to be turned and run back towards their own goal. And I think that's a feature of Leicester's game that has been enhanced by Maresca.
Here's Dyche, who's taken on the captain's armband in the second half. Just 20 years of age, born in Northampton. Here's try-list F. There's another one of the try-lists. On to B, who was fouled. Was that by Dake or Chowdhury?
You're playing games with yourself now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all ABC, Matthew.
It was the resigned shrug of the shoulders. Like, one of them. How long we got left, John?
Seven-ish.
Understandably, it's just petering out a touch, but still work to be done. Stay mentally focused.
A few Leicester supporters leaving early and heading up the giant hill behind that goal to the left, which the shot comes in on. Well, it was Trilys B looking to stand out with a free kick that was touched around the post by Daniel Everson. I think he's questioning the wall a little bit there, but he was on hand to make an acrobatic save.
It was a hell of a strike, wasn't it? Just a couple of steps run up. Boom, Everson went flying across, got a little touch on it, yeah? Forced the corner, but try this B, you say?
That was B, yes.
Yeah, he's looked all right, actually. A couple of occasions, he's got a little bit of pace about him, a little bit something different, only quite diminutive in stature, but he's...
B and F for me, if John Brady, the Northampton manager, is
okay.
listening.
Well, he hasn't done his chances any harm, that's for sure.
No. You know what, the next game he might become A. He's done that well, he could be trying to stay in the next game.
Yeah, that would be an elevation, wouldn't it?
Here's F, back to B. B still. Goes to C. And then it's F. F again.
This will go down as one of your finest moments, Johnny boy.
Thanks, Matt. I'm just glad you were here to share it with me. Here's Christiansen. He's on the right side here. Brighton.
We've got to say, isn't it nice to see Mark Albrighton back in a Leicester shirt?
Yes, it was a strange old move when he moved off to West, particularly when Leicester were short of wide players at the time.
Yeah, he's still got something to offer, hasn't he?
But when he came on, the Albrighton chant was very audible. He's a very firm fan's favourite, Mark Albrighton. About to start his 10th season as the Leicester City player.
Is it really that long? Yeah, fair play to him. Not many achieve that.
Ball carried out of play over on the far side. So, there you go. Trialist B impressing again with some ingenious ways of keeping the ball in play. Problem is, if he does sign, we won't know who he is to celebrate the signing. He's done well again.
The big reveal will be on. No, listen.
Yeah. You'll recognise him, mate. You've got an eye for a player.
Decent footballer, doesn't he? Yeah.
Late challenge, Albrighton on Abimbola. He stayed down under the watchful eye of Enzo Maresca. Maresca checking his well-being. Abimbola back on his feet. Another Northampton-born player came through the academy, made his league debut as a substitute last season back in March.
Maresca out there barking his orders, putting bits of advice across to his players there. They speak to Albrighton, who he wanted to pass the message on to the two centre halves. Northampton had the free kick. Suter and Vestergaard, were happy in their position that they thought was about right. Maresca wanted them 5 yards further forward, condense the play, force the issue, trust your goalkeeper if there's any balls over the top. Again, an extra little feature, extra little tidbit of how he foresees Leicester playing down the line. Just little changes that can make a big difference.
Everson in no rush to get the ball forward as we go into the final 2 minutes of normal time. There might be more than the added 60 seconds that we had in the first half due to the substitutions that took place.
Surely they're not going to times them by 9, are they?
Yeah, 30 seconds per substitute. Still going to be here at 7 o'clock tonight. Chowdhury caught in possession. Here's Trialist G initially, then on to F. Back to G. It's F's cross. Oh, make your own joke. Link the F up. Leave it with you.
His head was down, to say the least, there. By the time he jinked and turned and twisted, all his players had vacated the penalty box and he just chipped it in there anyway.
Suter again drifting to the right, closed down by the impressive Trialist B. Iheanacho holding up the man and the ball for Chowdhury to take up possession. Christiansen spotting an opportunity to just get his head down and venture forward. Albrighton holding his position on the halfway line. Space for Albrighton on this near side. For a moment he was left unnoticed. The left back, who as I mentioned is normally a winger, just trying to suss out the best position here. Northampton trying to narrow things down in the middle, which would leave space for Albrighton, who's now on the ball.
Leicester composed and keeping the ball pretty well, but not making too many advancements forward. I know these late stages, just seeing the game out, but looks like since Suter's done it now. That ball, he's got it wrong, right on cue, but that ball out wide to Daka has been on for the last 30-40 seconds and waiting for someone to be brave enough to try it, because they were popping the ball around without getting anywhere. Need to be a little bit more adventurous, but unfortunately Suter not getting the right connection.
As you can see, the referee's assistant, the fourth official, just showing the 1 minute minimum time to be added as Iheanacho looks for Ndidi, who has become an attacking force in this second half. There's a break here for Abimbola to Trialist B, who has caught the eye. Can he finish the game with a flourish to catch the eye even more so?
He runs a bit like you, doesn't he? 42, he's got the same silly little quip as well.
Try to think when you've seen me running.
Away from the bar.
And there is full time. Not before time, before Matt continues. Leicester win it then by a goal to nil. The goal coming in the first half with Kieran Dewsbury Hall's header. 27 minutes in. Another workout for Enzo Maresca and his new side. In the second half, Leicester certainly threatened the goal, but just couldn't quite find a second. Vardy and Pratt and Didi, Daka all coming close, and then we saw the young goalkeeping substitute James Dadge making a very important save to deny James Justin. The Leicester City fans starting to depart, but they will applaud off their players before doing so, after seeing what was another very worthwhile run at Matt. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, we mentioned, got the goal, but from an Enzo Maresca point of view, will he have learnt more about his team today, or was he still about building fitness ahead of the trip to Asia maybe?
Yeah, it's a combination of everything, isn't it? But yeah, he'll be looking for little signs and trying to implement that word that we've used quite often today. But yeah, I think he'll be not wowed by it, but I think he'd be relatively pleased. There were certain things, you know, that he tried to alter. You know, the full-back situation coming in, the midfield, or the back 3/4, whichever it is at that particular time, to be a little bit more compressed, more runs from midfield, I think, beyond the defensive line of the opposition. All those little bits and pieces that I thought are going to take a little while to, you know, to perfect or get anywhere near that, but yeah, definite signs. And there was quite a bit of a fluidity about their play. It was not too much penetration. You like to think that will come down the line, don't you? But it's a 1-0 flatters Northampton, doesn't it? So, you know, it was a decent exercise for a number of reasons, and I think he'll be quietly content into Maresca this evening.
And this is quite nice as well. I know it's a bit unique for the supporters to have the three sides of the ground for an away game, but just the way the players and the fans are connecting, there's a bit of a feel-good feel ahead of this season.
Yeah, bizarrely, because you thought there might be a little bit of a hangover, wouldn't you, from the back end of last season, because there was a little bit of frustration from the crowd. You know, everyone, myself included, thought Leicester had too much, you know, to end up in that relegation slot, and it did materialise, and a lot of people scratching their head and sort of levelling a few accusations here and there. But I think the signs are that most of the players that are here today seem happy to be here, and they want to be part of the movement that gets Leicester back to where the supporters think they should be, and hopefully will be. And, you know, I don't know, time will tell on 2 or 3 individuals. You know, it's football at the end of the day, players come and go. But then, yeah, it seems like it's not resentment, it doesn't seem, from the supporters as to like, why are we stuck back in this division? There's a realisation that it's happened, and then there seems, we talk about connection with Ricardo and Winks, there seems a little bit of a connection there with the players and the supporters. They're die-hard supporters, but they realise the best way to get back into the Premier League is back the players all the way, and hopefully the players can react to that.
The supporters of both teams making the trek. It will feel like Mount Everest to some of them to find their cars and head home. Let's look back at the goal. It came in the first half, 27 minutes in. Kieran Dewsbury Hall was the goal scorer, but it was about the link up down the right. We mentioned Ricardo, his connection with Harry Winks, and he played a part in the goal as well, Matt.
Yeah, very much so. I thought he featured quite prominently today, as did a number of players, and as did that man. Dewsbury Hall got himself the goal. The boys mentioned it at half time about, you know, running from deep. There's nothing worse from a an opposition's point of view. You don't know whether to track him back, pass him on. If you pass him on, the centre half disappears and it's the wrong decision. And again, bodies in the box. Look, 1, 2, 3 there on the end of the cross. Ricardo's had one cross that's been blocked. Dennis Pratt's there to put in the secondary cross. Winks is on the edge of the box, hovering in and around. And I thought that was a big feature of Leicester's play today as well. Listen, it's a pre-season game away at Northampton, but I wouldn't say they were cavalier, but they can be as courageous as that in the Championship as well. And I think they'll be able to afford themselves that luxury, because they will dominate games more often than not in the Championship, and they will have to find different ways of hurting oppositions. Whereas before, sometimes Leicester have been renowned at times of playing on the counter, etc. That won't probably be the case so much this year. So they've got to find a different dimension to the game, and I think there are signs of that today, that they're on the way to doing that.
Double dose of good news, because Matt is going to join Matty Fright and Lewis pitch side. For more Matt for the viewers, best news for Matt is the sun has come out again, the rain has dispersed. As everyone heads home, we'll have a short break before we're back with more analysts of this game. Full time, Northampton 0, Leicester 1.
Because memories never fade, no matter how long. We'll still remember the moments of excitement and the impressions of Thailand. Amazing Thailand, now even more amazing.
Lamia is the belief that perfection lies within the details, where the finest ingredients deserve the finest craftsmanship. In every pursuit of perfection, there is passion and perseverance, where attention to detail inspires a masterpiece that's balanced and in harmony. This is the Lamia philosophy, brewed into every drop of Chang beer. This is the taste of Thai perfection. Chang beer. We brew friendship.
Welcome back to Sixfield Stadium, where Leicester City have beaten Northampton 1-0 in today's pre-season friendly. As you can see, we've been joined by Connor Cody and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall after today's game. Connor, how did it feel out there? Good day? Good day's work?
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously a lot of work to do, a lot of work that we're doing at the minute. We've obviously had 2 weeks of work now, and the manager's been saying there about double sessions and different things, but you can see different ways and different styles of trying to play, and listen, we're loving it, we're really enjoying it, and listen, hopefully we can build on today and keep on getting a few more wins in pre-season.
Nice little goal for yourself, Kiernan. Happy with that one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get many on my head, so yeah, we're doing a lot of finishing and training, so Gaffer's been telling me to get in the box, get on the crosses, and nice today that one of them went in the back of the net. Yeah, we were talking at half-time about the system that the manager is getting you playing, and that really showed in that goal and the run from deep, and really getting used to that. Yeah, well look, we've not even been working with him for 2 weeks, and we feel like we've already learned so much. Like, I think you'll get to see he lives and breathes the game. His knowledge of the football is very good, and we're learning a completely different style to what a lot of us have been used to. So it's going to take time, but the more we work on it, the better it will come, and I think you'll see in the coming weeks that it can work very well. And in terms of new players coming in, Connor, you seem to have just fitted in straight away. It must be a really good group to be working with.
Yeah, without a doubt, and listen, that's not because of me, that's because of these boys and how they are in training, how they made me feel welcome and what they're like around the training ground, and listen, what training's been like, it's been fantastic. I'm I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving playing with the boys. I'm loving listening to the manager and learning from him every single day. And listen, we want to keep on improving. We know how big the season is. We know what we need to do, and it's important we use these next few weeks now to build into obviously the Coventry game.
It feels like everything's come round so quickly since the end of the season. It's been kind of all of a sudden back, new season. Is that quite nice in a way after the disappointment of what happened last year?
Yeah, obviously last year wasn't good enough, but we've got a chance this year to put it right, and that's the only focus we've got going into this season. The mentality's got to switch. We're looking at winning mentality every week, and I feel like the gaffer's going to come in and install that into us, and yeah, if we do that, then we'll be good.
And for you boys, is it a case of being tactics with the double sessions, or has it been a bit of running with the tactics involved?
A bit of everything, I'll be honest. The running sessions have been hard, really hard, but everything's with the ball, so everything's with a purpose of where your position is, where do you play on the pitch, and obviously sticking a run in to run back to the edge of the box or whatever it may be. So it's been brilliant, but I think the good thing about it is that we're talking about the way we play every single day we're being in, whether that be at 10 o'clock in the morning or 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We're talking about the way we want to play, so we're trying to improve. You see obviously what Key was saying about finding pockets and finding ways of playing, and we just need to keep on improving and listen to him every day.
Do you think on that point as well it will suit your game being a bit more advanced, breaking into midfield, getting beyond the forward players, getting a few more goals? Is that something that you think will benefit you even more this season?
Yeah, for sure. I've got my own personal goals of what I want to do this season in terms of stats.
Are you going to share them? Or keep them to yourself?
I'm going to keep them to myself for the time being. If I got as many to do, I'll be right. But it's good. I want to get in dangerous positions. I want to affect the game, and I feel like I'm going to be in that position a lot this season. Look, I feel like a lot of games it's going to be a similar scenario, and who we're playing against and how we're playing. We're a different team in the Championship. The gaffer said that to us compared to when we're in the Premier League. So a lot of teams might sit deep, and we have to wait and find that time. But when we get into them positions, that's where we have to penetrate and take our chances.
Callum Doyle came in yesterday, straight into the lineup today. What are you expecting from him to add to that kind of defensive solidity?
Everything he showed today, listen, he's done incredibly well. I think he's had 2 low moves. I was speaking to Dan about him the other day just before he came in, and he's done incredibly well with a promotion at Sunderland, nearly got there with Coventry, and listen, he's got a lot of league games under his belt, and his experience, and he's only a young lad, but I talk about his experience in terms of being in the league and doing what he done last season. I think he's going to be invaluable for us, and you see him today, listen, he's so assured on the ball, he's a big lad, he can defend properly, and it's up to us to talk him through a game as well, because he's a young lad coming to a fantastic club, and it's up to us to help him every single day, and I'm pretty sure all the boys will do that in the change room, including myself as well.
And you said about there's a lot of work still to do. Where do you feel needs improving? Where do you feel that you can get better and better as you go?
Everywhere. Winning mentality, I think that's a massive thing coming from us. We need to instill that feeling in terms of everybody, not just the players, not just the staff, but the supporters as well, to know that we're going into a game and we're there to put our stamp on the game. We're there to really, in every department of the game, to put our stamp on it as well. So I think that's a massive part of it, but every single part, there's so much for us to learn. The manager's giving us so much information every day, and I think you can see a different style of playing, and we'll keep on doing that every single day to get better at it.
And your first time meeting the Leicester fans today?
Yeah, we're brilliant. Listen, 3 sides of the ground. We said it when we came out, and I read something before the game that it was I think my brother told me before the game, it's 3 sides of the ground, and this is brilliant. We need them. We want that feeling of, I've mentioned a couple of times to the boys about what that season can do in the Championship if it's going well with the crowd behind you and the feeling behind you, and we need them more than anything because it's such a big season for us.
And do you know exactly what they're like, and do you want to get things back after last year? They had a disappointing one. I guess you're more motivated than ever to really put in a shift for them this season.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I want them to be coming to games week in, week out, going home with 3 points. They're class. The away fans are fantastic. They were fantastic all last season, and when the King Power's rocking, it's a hard place to go. So look, the good days, the good Saturdays, and hopefully come the end of the season, we're going to be giving them a celebration. So yeah, that's the plan.
Gents, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you coming over.
Cheers,
Connor Cody and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall with us. We've got Matt Elliott's going to come on down as well, but feel free to head off, gents. We're going to carry on chatting. We're going to carry on going. Of course, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall got the winner today. We've seen that. Take care, mate. Cheers. Thanks. And as we go on, we will hear more from Matty Fryatt. We've got Matt Elliott, he's signing autographs for the Northampton fans as well. They talk so well. They're obviously very much focused on a goal this season.
You could see that from a pre-season game and the way they spoke after the game. And in terms of learning, Connor Cody's coming as someone who's had massive success in the Championship, obviously under a different team, but you can see what he brings. Keenan also wanting to go even more upon his game. He talked about he's not going to say his personal goals, but you can tell he wants to get more goals. And today he got into really good positions. Obviously his legs, he gets forwards, and it'll be a handful for most midfielders to sort of cope with him breaking forward into them positions and chipping in with goals, which I think, in terms of if Leicester is set up in that way, I think it'll really suit his game.
Let's get Matt Elliott back here. Matt, come on in. You finished your signing session with the Northampton
I know, I've just been seeing a few people, you know.
So I can all them signatures.
I can afford you a few minutes of my time.
Thank you. The viewers have been missing your face, having heard your voice in their ear for so long. We just heard from Keenan Dewsbury Hall and Connor Cody about saying there's a lot more work needing to be done, but days like this, it's about solid minutes in the legs and just getting back in the flow.
Yeah, I think it was satisfactory, wasn't it? I think the manager will be relatively pleased. He won't be overwhelmed or astounded. It was the scoreline flat as Northampton, I just said on the radio, and they'll be relatively pleased that they came through it unscathed a little bit. But from Leicester's point of view, I thought it was neat and tidy enough. There are certain little aspects of the game that you can see that are a new introduction, really. Albeit it's just minor tweaks, but they can have a big effect down the line, and that's going to be improved upon. I didn't hear what the lads were saying, but listen, they're not going to get carried away. If they've won the game 10-0, they're not turn them into a wonder team overnight, is it? There's always things to be worked upon, and particularly with a new manager, a new way of playing, some new players, a new competition, really, in terms of division, how to apply themselves. They'll be learning on the hop a little bit, but that's what makes it interesting. You'll be excited to be part of it. I think you can tell that from the players as well.
It's very much a case of that second half. It became very much a pre-season game with all those changes. It's very hard to get any momentum. That must be quite tough for those players who came on, because it was hard to really make an impact.
It does, but that happens in pre-season games, and you've got to deal with it could be next game you start the game and roles reversed it and mix up the teams. It just depends, and you've just got to take the opportunity when it comes along. Players also get minutes in the belt, under the belt, whether they come on at 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the case scenario. But it always plays out that way. It comes a little bit passive, but there were still enough opportunities as the game went on, and it was just, could Leicester capitalise on them, couldn't convert the chances, and in the end it becomes a little bit pedestrian. But is what is. Minutes under the belt, everyone gets a sort of run of time, and it's sort of building. But you can see from the first half and even second half, even with the changes, that inverted fullback wanting that control in the midfield areas, the build up to play up, back and through, or can you bring the opposition onto you and then look for that one in behind.
Yeah, it was interesting because we heard you in the first half, Matt. You were talking about how Leicester maybe were a little bit overplaying at times in that central area. And Matty was like, well, it's quite nice that they've got control of the ball. So what do you think?
No, it's a fine balance. But I think I've been scarred a little bit from a couple of occasions last season. Brighton springs to mind.
That's gone though now.
No, exactly. But
I know what you mean.
No, but there were times when
it's the case of when to play.
Yeah, when to do it, when to
turn
not.
it. But I suppose in the pre-season,
you don't have to do it. Man City can sort of do it religiously because the quality is there. And Leicester have quality, not up to Man City level, of course. But I think if they're not forced but strongly encouraged to go through it all the time, teams will become wise to it. So you need to have that flexibility. But listen, I thought it was nice to see because they looked in tandem with each other. There was a good link-up connection that you two spoke about, not just Ricardo and Winks, but other players as well. I thought James Justin came in and slotted in well. Hamza Chowdhury there in the midfield. And it's obviously a big emphasis of the manager's play, who's just lurking over your shoulder.
Yeah, let's get a word with the manager. Matt, can you go and get a microphone for us? Oh, there we go. That's well. Enzo, thank you so much. Come on in.
Nice to meet you. Hello, sir.
Enzo, congratulations. A win under your belt, but as we said before the match, it wasn't necessarily about winning the game. It was about getting the messages across, getting some minutes in the legs, and how do you feel it went?
Yeah, as you said, I think in this moment it's important to grow
and to see the idea getting better. But at the end, if you can do that winning game, it's much better.
Yeah, we were talking just before you came in about the style that you're showing, Ricardo working a little bit inside. Do you feel the players are really grasping that sense of what you want them to do in that role?
Yes, in this moment we are using Ricardo in that position. I think he's doing very well from the first day of the pre-season. But this is just work in progress. You know, it's day by day to try to add something more and to try to improve.
I was going to say, is it a case, Enzo, of little by little introducing things to the players that are relatively new for them? And you have many tricks up your sleeve along the season, maybe?
Yeah, no, as we just said, it's a day by day work. You know, now the idea, we are working in this idea, but we need to add more things, to improve more things. But you can do that only working day by day.
Bit by bit, yeah. Do you get the feeling that the players are excited by the challenge ahead? Yourself coming in, I know the supporters are, the likes of ourselves, you coming in, you sort of... But you've got that reaction from the players, you feel?
Yeah, no, I think even today they show that they are happy with the idea. They are always trying to play. So yeah, I think they are very happy.
Is that the idea of having the extra numbers in the midfield to draw the opposition in, play the short passes and then through to exploits? Obviously the likes of Jamie Vardy, Patson Daka, it's got to be a case of the little combinations and then through, but it's a case of working on. Is that the principles that you're sort of going to go with this season?
Exactly. As you said, the idea to have one more player inside is because we are looking for one extra player there. First half and second half, many times happened that Dennis or Keenan, they were alone. That's because their men jumped to Ricardo or Harry, and Dennis or Kieran, they were alone. So yeah, the idea is to have one extra man. Sometimes the opponent don't allow you to have an extra man because they come man-to-man aggressive. In that case, we're gonna try to find different solution, probably more direct. We see anyway.
When you look at the goal that you scored today, Enzo, would you say that's it working to a T, the way you're trying to make it work?
Yeah, the idea also is to have the player like Dennis and Kieran arrive to the box with winger, striker and attacking midfielder. You have 4 or 5 players in the box, and you know better than me, when you have many players in the box, always something happens.
Yeah, exactly. That was a big feature, I thought, because I've been fortunate enough to watch Leicester over many seasons recently, and that's the most I can remember Leicester having bodies in the box. And even if it's not like perfectly constructed, things fall to you, don't they? You know, it's like a numbers game, and the players again must be enjoying that freedom with the insurance behind, but that freedom to go and cause problems.
Yeah, exactly. Keenan arrived, Wilfred second half.
Yeah, Wilfred indeed, not his usual role.
Yeah, I know, that's why. But I said from the first day, if you when you arrive here, you need people in the box. You need players in the box. Otherwise, become difficult if you have only one player, striker, or 2 players, because the opponent they usually have 4 players, 4 defenders, 5 defenders, so it becomes difficult.
And it's going to be a trip away for you now to take on some other clubs abroad. What are you hoping to get out of that trip to Thailand?
Listen, we are very excited to go there, to travel there. We know that there the temperature is different, so we're gonna struggle a little bit the way we can train. But today football is what it is. All the clubs, they need to go abroad for pre-season, so we're gonna adapt.
Brilliant stuff. Enzo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Safe trip back.
Thank you.
Thank
you. We'll see you soon.
There we go. Leicester City manager. I'll say that one. There you go. Leicester City manager Enzo Mascara talking to us there. He's very clear in what he says. He's very clear in what he's trying to do with this Leicester City team.
Yeah, and I think even when he's speaking there, he doesn't try and be too intricate, does he? You know, he's quite direct, straightforward, quite clear in his message and the way he puts things across. He doesn't try to, it wouldn't be difficult, but he doesn't try to bamboozle us, you know, with total science, etc. But you get the feeling that he portrays and he emits confidence to the players, and you You know, coming from where he has, his background, etc. Everyone knows about it. As a player, you know, you're going to be excited by that. You're going to think, right, I want to be on board with this, and you can sense that, and he brings that with him. The proof will be in the pudding, of course. You know, everything seems set in place at this moment in time. There's a lot of ups and downs and eventualities, but you do have that confidence that he's going to bring something special back to Leicester City, and very timely that would be as well, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, you're going to be out in Thailand, so enjoy that trip. You'll be able to see everything that happens out there by checking out the Leicester City website, and of course there will be a show when Leicester play against Tottenham next Sunday, so look out for that. Thank you so much for your company. Thanks to Matty, thanks to Matt as well, and our commentator John Dunn for being with us this afternoon. Take care, and we'll see you very, very soon.